All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Tonight, sitting back with me, I have two hockey players from the University of Texas, Elliot Caplin and Lucas Robbins. Elliot was born in Chicago and is an economics and Middle Eastern Studies major with a focus in Arabic, and Lucas is a finance major through the Macomb School of Business while also pursuing a minor in history. Lucas was the president of the Business Ethics Club, vice president of the Jewish Student Organization, and was on high honor roll for 11 terms while he was in high school and was also the captain of the hockey team. Elliot, who grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and started playing hockey at the age of 5, he played for the AAA Blues, the highest level of youth hockey, from ages 9 to 18 before enrolling at UT and joining the hockey team here in Austin. Outside of hockey, Elliot, Lucas, and I are going to talk about international travel, the impact that NIL is having on the sports industry, Greek mythology, the decline of casual American dining, and so much more. Lucas and Elliot, thank you for being here and welcome to your episode on David's Saturday Night Sit Back.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you for having us. Looking forward to it.
Bring that mic a little bit closer.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe a little bit closer. There you go. Are you happy?
It's great. Mike's at a perfect distance now.
I'm in about in general, not about the mic.
I mean, not much. We're at UT at a great time for both sports and the school in general. Would have been a better time had we won on Friday, but still a pretty good overall time. And can't really ask for much more.
How about you?
Definitely. I love the school. I get to continue to play hockey, which is awesome. And I get to be here, which is even better.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for being here. Knowing what we're going to talk about tonight, do you guys have anyone that you hope this podcast reaches? Or even any friends or family members that you think you might be excited to tell about it once it comes out?
Probably mom and dad, I would
Mom
say.
and dad, right on.
They'll be happy to hear what I have to say, I guess. And I mean, they played a big role in a lot of it, so I'd say that's my response.
That's cool. My mom doesn't listen to this. She said if I die before her, she will listen to every single episode, but until that happens, she has no interest. I was like, cool.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. We're on great terms, but she didn't grow up with podcasts, so this is very foreign to her, you know.
Gotcha.
What about you? Do you have anyone you hope this reaches?
I mean, my parents definitely, they sacrificed a lot for me to be here, driving me to hockey practices, making sure I went to the best school that I could. So I'm very grateful for them. And then obviously people around UT, spreading, not many people know that UT even has a hockey team. So getting that word out would be awesome.
I didn't know they had a hockey team.
Yeah.
Many people don't.
I was trying to get some of the guys on from the Texas Stars, and I wasn't having much luck. And then one of my friends was like, well, why don't you just reach out to some of the guys on the UT team? And it's like, there's a UT team?
Yeah.
Sweet. And here you are.
I'll take it that we're only a step down from the Texas Stars.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, right?
Exactly.
Definitely,
I'll take it happily.
Do you guys go to those games much, or do you not like watching hockey since you are hockey players?
I like watching hockey, but I mean, my team's the Buffalo Sabres, so maybe if there was a Rochester Americans game against the Texas Stars, I would go. But other than that, probably not. It's just I'm very content watching hockey on my television. I'm at the rink enough. I play enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the games in person.
See, I'm the total opposite. Obviously, I'm not a hockey player either, so maybe that's probably a huge part of it. But there's just something. When I went to my first hockey game in January of 2023, and I'm not a big sports guy, I have never had so much fun in my life. It is such a good time.
It is a really good time. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just sometimes I enjoy just sitting back on the couch and turning it on and not actually having to be there.
Fair enough. Well,
I love going to hockey games. I haven't been to a Stars game yet, but it's an awesome time just going and chilling, get some glass seats and get to bang on the glass, watch a fight. Great atmosphere. So I love going to watch hockey games live.
one of the most entertaining parts for me at my first game was a couple of parents had got all their kids front row seats, and I curse all the time, as you will learn in a couple minutes, and so I have nothing against it, but these kids were 6 to 10 years old, and some of the things they were yelling at the opposing team, I'm like, dude,
yeah,
what are you, that's crazy,
yeah.
That's wild, and
yeah.
they true hockey fans right there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's good. I mean, chirping's a very important part of the game.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Obviously, I'm glad you guys are here. Why'd you agree to come on the show?
I'll start us off. First of all, I've never been on a podcast. Wanted to experience it and kind of tell my story about growing up playing hockey. Hockey's not a big thing in Texas in general, so maybe inspire some people to go out and play.
Yeah, I would say once Elliot kind of told me about it, it did seem like a really good opportunity to spread both the word about Texas hockey and then just hockey in Texas. Because I know, there's not really too many teams around here, but there's still plenty of opportunity to play, and it's been a great sport that's given me some of the best memories I could ask for.
Heck yeah. Well, to kick us off here, I was talking to ChatGPT this morning. Some people do from time to time. And I asked it for some stereotypes around hockey players. And I figured we could go through some of these and either debunk them or confirm them. And if there's any of these, there's one in particular you might want me to cut out. And if you want to, we totally can. But there's a couple of them here. So first stereotype about hockey players, tough and aggressive.
I would say on the ice, yes. It's a physical game. It's a fast game. You're constantly, battling for pucks. I don't know about off the ice.
I think off the ice we're a little soft. I don't know. I don't know that other hockey guys will agree.
I don't know if I'd say soft. But I wouldn't really.
Don't put me in that camp.
I'll go more with the tough. I do think as a general rule, hockey guys, especially in terms of professional athletes, you're looking at NHLers versus other sports. There's guys that break their jaw. They'll be back later that game just with a full bubble on their face. So I would say, in terms of comparing it to most other sports, at least at a professional level, yes, that stereotype would be true.
Yeah.
Definitely on the ice. Tough on the ice. I've broken my wrist and finished my shift. So you learn to play through injuries that come up.
He's pretty soft too, as a general rule. So
I'm a soft guy.
Speaking of which, I went through both your Instagrams, which were very short. Some of them, I guess, have 1,000 pictures, and I have to slate away 3 hours because I like to look at every single picture because you have no idea what you might find. So thank you for making my work incredibly easy to get ready for this. That being said, is that you getting knocked over that wall?
Yep, that is me. I actually, after you see that, I did a flip, and I had a buddy, number 6 there, catch me. Before I landed on my head. So I'm very thankful that he was there.
I'm thankful that you are here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get back to the stereotypes in a second. Have either of you had any either minor or major injuries up to this point of your hockey career?
Yeah, so I fractured, both of my knees are fractured and dislocated from hockey. So this one was first. I took a skate, I was on the ice from a corner battle, and I took a skate right there, and when it was popping out my knee, the bone chipped. So that was that. And then this one, I just went knee to knee with somebody, and it dislocated. Ooh. So that's now they go in and out as they please. It's I wish it didn't happen, but it's kind of part of the game.
Does it happen do they come out when you're playing?
They do.
What do you have to do to fix that?
At this point, I can, if any of my doctors are watching, I don't do this. I can pretty much just put it, wiggle it back into place and then step on it a few times and it'll pop right back in. It's definitely not good for the future. I'll be needing knee replacements, but I got 2.5 years left of competitive hockey, so they'll last, hopefully.
Yeah. Does it affect you on the day-to-day at all?
Not really. So it's only, if I overuse it, if I'm putting too much pressure in a squat, I'll feel it get ready to go and then be able to get up in time, and it'll just be extremely sore. But for the most part, it's good, and then it'll happen just when I'm not I jump and I land on it in a weird way, and it'll redislocate.
Sorry.
That's what it is.
How about you? Any crazy injuries yet?
Yeah, I broke my wrist Had to get pins, like it shattered it, like bones were on the wrong side of my wrist. Like they were just having to go in there and put it all back together. So I was out, I think 8 weeks with pins in my wrist. And then I broke my thumb. That one wasn't too bad. Didn't need surgery or anything, but it keeps you out because you need it to hold a hockey stick. And then I tore my labrum, and I didn't do anything about it, and it would just pop in and out and in and out.
Where's that? Front of the shoulder?
Yeah, it's your shoulder. It's what keeps your shoulder in place. So I basically dislocated it, and it took just big hole in my labrum. So my shoulder would just pop out while I played, and then I have to pop it back in. And I played through it for 4 years, and then finally, after high school, it was just constant popping in and out, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I went and got surgery in, I think it was March 2024, and then that was a 6-month recovery. So I'm just getting back off of that.
How'd the wrist one feel in the moment?
The wrist one was crazy. I didn't know I broke it, so I finished my shift.
What kind of work were you doing?
Like hockey.
Oh, you were okay.
Yeah, so I was playing hockey. All these were hockey related. So I shot the puck, and then somebody hit, and my wrist bent back, and it shattered, and I had like this immediate like that like pain, but I didn't go down or anything. Skated off the ice. I take my glove off, and I show my coach, and I'm like, "Coach, my wrist doesn't feel too well." And he's like, "Get off the ice. Like your wrist is broken. Like that does not look right." So.
And it was broken, so you made the right call there.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are relatively functioning. That's great. Have you guys ever strained your low back doing deadlifts?
Probably, like, I've heard it, so I would say yes. Whether the extent of the hurt, whether it being sore or strain, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But I would say most likely a strain from improper form would be my guess.
I got a pretty gnarly. I've never had any serious gym injuries, and even this one I wouldn't really consider serious. But me and my workout buddy were deadlifting 8 days ago, and I forgot to put my belt on. And I pick up the bar, and I knew before I started to go down, I was like, just put the bar down and put your belt on. And I was like, no, this isn't even heavyweight for me. I've done this weight 1,000,000 times. I'm about to rep this out 12 times. Like, I don't need a belt. Go down on my first rep, start to go back up, and immediately just felt this intense shooting pain in the lower right of my back. Got home, did a bunch of stretches first in the gym, got home, went to bed. The only position I could sleep that was comfortable was on my stomach. Woke up on Sunday morning and was in such excruciating pain. It was like a fight just to get my shoes on. It hurt so bad. Drove myself to the urgent care center, answered a few questions, and they were like, yeah, you sprained your back. Throw some Vicodin patches on and stop being a baby. I'm like, dude, I'm in so much pain. Like, I could barely get out of bed this morning. I felt like I was 70 years old. So that was not very fun, but here we are only 8 days later, and today I'm almost pain-free. So
there you go.
Congratulations,
almost.
Yep, almost.
Almost there. I think by tomorrow I'll be good.
Yep.
All right, next stereotype. Missing teeth.
None.
Smile, both of you. Not you two. What about guys on your team?
Yeah, so we just had one recently, actually, against Texas A&M. And he just it was a late hit. It ended up being a penalty. But he chipped, like, these 2 teeth. But he chipped them so significantly that he had to get them taken out, and he has 2 new teeth. Then my roommate from last year was also on the team, actually. His front 2.
Oh, not the front 2.
When he was celebrating the state championship, he got knocked into the glass, and his front 2, it was like a V. And so he has fake teeth as well.
I've chipped my front tooth. Like, you can see it a little bit. It's not bad. But I actually bit through my mouth guard, and my mouth guard took it out, so...
It took your whole tooth out?
Like, no, just like a little piece of it. It was sticking in my mouth guard. I don't know how it happened, but...
I think all of mine. I think I have a little chip on one of them. I'm not sure which one, but...
So maybe partly true for this one.
I'd say partly true.
Partly true. Once you, like, the pros, they only...
Yeah,
we wear cages.
We wear cages, so our faces are fully protected.
Yeah.
So it's much flukier.
Yeah.
for us to be losing.
So what you guys wear is different than like what the Texas Stars would be wearing, where they
Yeah.
just have the.
They wear the visors.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
their
College
teeth
hockey.
are not protected.
Yeah. College hockey doesn't allow you to wear visors.
Why's that?
Probably
Or
for
or
safety.
or for the other way around, why wouldn't the? Why do you think the pro teams just want to keep wearing them so they can keep their teeth intact too?
Your vision, it's supposed to be your vision's better because less is obstructing your view.
And also, like, the NHL has a like rule that you can only wear like a cage if you have injury to your face. So they won't even let you choose to wear it. So I think it's because they want to, like, it's easier to market players if you can see their whole face. If you can, they're more personable. If you can, like, they don't have the cage blocking them.
Interesting. I didn't know that rule.
Either. I never would have thought of that.
No.
Yeah, I can't see their faces
Yeah.
when I'm out there at the
Yep.
the HEB Center. So, long hair. I don't think I would consider yours long. I mean, it's not like
No.
shaved, but
I had long hair. I cut it when I came down here. So it will grow long again.
I would say, I don't know about long hair. Like, there's nothing, in terms of long hair, a lot of them have they refer to them as the wings. And Charlie Draghi on our team, actually, I'll give him a shout out. Has great wings. But it's like your hair will, like, go up and, like, almost make wings there. Like,
Yeah.
But long it as a general aspect, I would say probably not. Like, I can't think of anybody that really has a.
It's a tradition in Minnesota high school hockey. They do the all hair team,
It's true.
and everyone grows their hair out, and they'll bleach it. They'll do like crazy haircuts. They'll have mullets, and at the end of the tournament, the kids who have like the 20 kids who have the best hair in all of Minnesota high school hockey get placed on this hockey hair team and get like a shout out, and it's a big deal.
must be nice to have hair. I would not be able to participate in that.
Yeah.
But this is the one I was thinking if you guys want to cut out either for yourselves or because you don't want to out anyone on your team, I can edit this one out. Heavy drinkers. That's a yes.
I don't know. Like, I don't think so as a I don't know.
There's, if you look up Alex Ovechkin in the
Yeah,
NHL,
well, we have a lot of Russians in our
Yeah.
sport, so that's.
yeah,
And I think they are known for that.
yes,
They are.
Yeah.
100%. So.
yeah. The Russians in the NHL definitely are heavy drinkers. Alex Ovechkin, one of the best players in the NHL right now. After he won the Stanley Cup, he went on like a year-long just beer drinking party and didn't stop until the next season. So it was pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's quite the bender.
Yeah.
I've heard of like people going on a 3 or 4 day celebration, but a year.
He was like
His
a year
poor
long.
liver.
Yeah.
My God. I did not like this one because I think it's untrue. Because I know some very smart hockey players. Unintelligent. Is that a stereotype?
I hope not. I would say no. Like, I know plenty of guys on our team that are quite intelligent. I mean, we have a great spread, I would say, across all of the majors. And some of those majors are quite challenging to get into. So
Yeah.
they seem like intelligent guys.
Yeah, I think intelligent. Yeah.
And
I would say there are definitely some that are not the smartest, but I think a lot of it has to do with, your education. There's some that will homeschool to play hockey at a young age
right.
rather than going to school. You probably won't be the most intellectual without having some sort of education. So that's kind of my take on that.
But the thing is too about that is that's true of anything,
Well,
right?
exactly,
You
yeah.
take any sport or even any career, you look at a group of cops or whatever, you name anything, and there's going to be a couple of dum-dums in there somewhere.
Yes,
So there's always a few.
In St. Louis, there's a school where it's Toll Performance Hockey Academy, and they go to school online. They go to the rink and they do online school, and then they skate like 3 times a day. And I mean, obviously, kids going to that school are not getting the education that they necessarily need to be considered, I guess, intelligent. So I think that's kind of where it comes from. Like, a lot of kids choose hockey over school at a very young age.
Yeah, it's kind of becoming increasing. I guess they're increasing in number and I guess, like, ranking in terms of the hockey community recently. There's turning into a bunch of them, which are really just, I say go to prep school, everyone. Go Big Red Hockey.
Yeah. What I am curious what your guys' take on that is, like, school versus career, because I've had a couple people on the show who dropped out of school as early as, like, high school because they wanted to be a musician, for an example. So he's like, why do I need to be taking math and English? Like, I will never use any of this for what I'm going to do in my career. Whereas you guys are definitely proponents of college because you are two students yourselves. Why do you think you went the college route?
Yeah, I would say to each their own, kind of. You know, each person's going to have their own journey as to what they want to do and what they're going to go through to get what they want to do. I would say for me, school's always been very important. You know, I knew I wanted to go into finance or business and then finance at a relatively young age. You know, I always loved going into work with my dad when I was a young kid. And that was just kind of one of the core values that was stressed in our family was education and intellect. So that's kind of my take.
Yeah.
But I say everyone has their own journey, and certain things will work for some people that won't work for other people. And so I think it's great that he pursued his career as that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. What's your take on that? School versus no school?
Yeah, from my viewpoint, like, I had dreams that I couldn't do without school. Like, I needed to go to school I want to work in the Middle East someday. So, like, that's kind of, I need to go to school. I need to learn Arabic. I need to get a degree. The people that just want to go play hockey, they have to kind of weigh what they're going to be able to do. Like, it's definitely a hard path to go down. Like, you need to have a backup plan if your career is, I want to go play professional hockey. That's not a very easy path to go down. It's, you got to be in the top 0.1% of hockey players. So, I think if you look at that stat, you kind of need to have a backup plan, and school is definitely a good one.
Yeah.
And go from there.
That's a good point. School's a decent backup plan.
Yeah.
All right, we just got 3 more of these. And these, I think, were actually the 3 most interesting ones. Are you guys superstitious about your pregame rituals?
Yeah.
Yeah? What are they?
Extremely. So every game, right after warm-ups, I pray. And then from there, basically, I have to be, when we're getting on the ice, I have to be the last one on the ice. Like, I'll give them all fist bumps, and I have to be the last one on. And then after warm-ups, I have to be the last one off. And so, out of both teams.
What if you have another player that comes in and his pregame ritual is that he has to be the last one on? What are you gonna do?
That stinks.
Hold hands, walk on at the same time?
So our captain last year, actually, he didn't have to be the last one on, but he was always in the back half, and so I knew, like, that was my sign basically of when I could get on, was after he was done, he could get on, because his thing was always, I think it could have been last before I came in, but he just wasn't as superstitious about it. I've done it for throughout most of my high school career, so it's kind of been a couple years.
Well, I hope you never have someone who also has that need.
Well,
I do
to
too.
keep our
there will be
fingers
standoffs between him and kids on the other team,
That's
because
true.
they'll know he wants to be last off.
We're having
geez,
stand-up.
and
I've
they're
had to
trying to
play
get in
rock,
your
paper,
head.
scissors a couple times.
Yeah.
Haven't lost yet, though, so
Keep
whoever
that
we play next is welcome to challenge me.
up. How about you, Elliot? Do you have any pregame rituals?
I listen to the same song before every game. At Sandstorm, it was kind of like I think it was a big song on NHL Slapshot, the video game, way back on the Wii, and I liked it, so I listened to that. And then I usually put my right skate on first, and, like, I put right skate on, left skate on, tie my right skate, tie my left skate. So I don't even think about it anymore. That's just what I do. But it's definitely something I've done since I was really young. So
What's one of the more unique rituals that you've seen from either, like, one of your other players?
I don't know. Goalies are usually pretty weird. Like,
Yeah.
I've loved all the goalies I played with, but they all have their own thing, and it's always by themselves.
yeah,
What's one? Or do you not know because they're by
I
themselves?
don't know. Like, I've never.
we've seen a goalie have his VR headset
Yeah.
on, and he was like visualizing himself saving pucks or something, and you could see him. He was by himself in the corner.
That was up there for me.
Yeah.
He was literally like standing alone on a platform, just like
Saving pucks, yeah.
working on his angles. I was like, that's you're doing a lot there.
Yeah. What about outside of rituals? Are they sort of, do goalies tend to have a reputation for being like sort of the odd duck of the group?
I'd say they have a reputation. I love all the goalies that have played for me though. So, but they're goalies. Like, I would say to be a goalie in any sport, you have to have a different mindset.
Yeah.
To say the least. I mean, you're voluntarily letting people shoot pieces of vulcanized rubber at you for 60 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I've liked them all. They're just so weird. They're weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met one other goalie. He didn't play professionally. I think he played through high school, and now he plays with there's some league here in Austin. Do you guys know about it? It's
NA3?
could be.
Yeah, it might be.
Let's go with it. So he plays with them, and he's their goalie, and he's a very normal person. So I would say if that is a stereotype, once again, like all of these, it's not true across the board.
Yeah.
This one I thought was sort of interesting. Do you guys have exclusive social circles, or do you find that most of your friends are people that are somehow affiliated with your team?
I would say definitely not. I mean, just thinking about, I would say there are like a lot of hockey guys will typically hang together, and I don't think that's incorrect. However, I mean, if you're spending that much time with people, you're also going to hang out with them a lot.
Right.
So, but I wouldn't say it's really exclusive at all. Like, a lot of us have there's 4 of us in the same fraternity. So, like, our friends are just scattered out through the fraternity. So that's kind of like, I would say no. Is basically, I'm giving you a very long-winded way to say a short answer, no.
Yeah. How about you? Are your friends? Do you have friends outside of hockey?
I have friends outside of hockey, yes. Now, one of my very good friends at school is a former hockey player, no longer plays hockey, but I met him, didn't know he had played hockey before, and then we connected, and he's like, oh yeah, I played hockey. But I think, so hockey players kind of have their own language that they're known for, and being able to talk in kind of that way with somebody kind of connects you almost. Like, if I walk around a non-hockey player and kind of use the slang that we use, they'll just look at me weird. So
can you give us an example?
I mean, we say if I want to go to Chipotle, I'll be like, let's go rip some chipper. Like, we call it chipper. And then rip is like, go do something, or like,
It's right on.
Yeah. If I'm like, let's get out of here, I'll be like, let's wheel. Like, let's go. So yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of hockey slang. People get angry because they claim it's like a fake accent. But it's not. It's real. It's real. We talk that way.
Sure. No, I would say what he's saying, the terminology, I believe, is 100% real. Like, there's some things that you can only say to hockey. Like, you can say that only hockey guys will understand. And however, the accent's totally fake. There's no accent whatsoever.
I don't know.
It's just like the fraccent. Like, there's no frat accent either. It's people choosing to use that accent with that dialect. But yeah.
I disagree. I think there is a hockey accent, but yeah.
There's no accent.
Can you do it?
I don't know. It's mostly just like, I don't know. I just do it like without even thinking about it. Like, talk like Minnesota does. Like, I'm like I'll say
Sorry
A
to all the
lot.
Minnesotans watching the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I'll say like A lot. So that's Canadian. But like, I'll finish my sentences and be like, or I'll be like, looking good today, or something like that. Like, let's go here, eh? There's a hockey accent. I'll be like, let's go here, eh?
It's not an accent. It doesn't happen naturally. It happens because he's putting on.
It happens naturally. I've developed it, but it happens naturally.
Well, I've survived the hockey accent of 2025 so far. So.
So far. That's funny. I was listening to, have you guys heard of the Pucks in Deep podcast?
We have, yes.
Why?
Is it Spit and Chitlets podcast?
I didn't write down their names. I just jotted down where I heard this one.
Right.
But whenever I have someone on, like a musician or I don't know, like anyone, I'll go listen to someone else's podcast who does something similar just to get an idea of like what would they ask and what are they interested in. And one thing that they harped on multiple times is that some of the kindest and coolest people in the world are hockey players. And I was like, if that stereotype's true, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with that. I would say, I mean, I think you can argue this for most professional athletes too. But in terms of professionals, like I always see the very heartwarming videos on my TikTok For You page of like them doing something with a fan that has cancer or, you know, some unfortunate circumstance. And I mean, I'd like to think that they're the kindest, but you know, I'm thinking of all my coaches and I would say they are some of the best people I've ever met, and kind of their willingness to share their knowledge of the game with me, I'm very grateful for. So maybe,
Yeah.
I would say yes. Actually, I'll say that stereotype's true.
I think I'm gonna agree with that stereotype. Like, they do a lot. Like the hockey community is pretty tight. So like you go up to a professional hockey player and they'll talk to you about your team, and just even if you're not a hockey player, they'll talk to you. They'll sign autographs, which is true of a lot of professional athletes too. But I think hockey players have a way of doing it where they're very kind about it and actually like want to interact with people. It's not just a part of their job. You agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I want to back up a little bit and go back in time with you guys. You were, I think you told me, or I saw on LinkedIn or somewhere, you started playing at 5?
Yeah.
How old were you when you started playing?
Started skating at 2, started playing at 3.
You started skating at 2?
Wow.
Do you have any idea, did your parents ever tell you, like, I'm assuming since you were only 2, that wasn't like your choice. They must have put you
actually.
in.
So
it was?
So I was born in New York City, and then when I was 6 months old, we moved to Toronto, Ontario. So obviously everybody in Canada kind of plays hockey, and the way the story my mom tells it is that I came home from school at like 2 years old, and I was like, Mom, I have to play hockey. I have to play hockey. And she's like, when you can make 3 laps around the rink, like we're going to start you in skating lessons. When you can make 3 full laps around the rink, then we'll start thinking about hockey. And at 2.5, I made 3 laps around the rink. We then moved to Rochester, New York, and my hockey career started.
So they moved to Rochester so you could play hockey?
Not so I could play hockey. My dad's
Oh,
job,
okay. I was going to say,
moved us
that's
to
pretty
Rochester.
committed for
That
a
would be-
3-year-old kid to be like,
Yeah.
that's to uproot the entire family
No,
because
that
our
would be-
3-year-old wants to play hockey in Rochester.
That would be crazy. No,
Talk
we
about the
moved-
most supportive parents ever, if,
Yeah.
if that had been. Yeah.
That would be absurd of them.
Yeah.
But no, we moved when I was 4 to Rochester. So I was skated until I was like 3, from 2.5 to like just skated until like 3.5. We moved to Rochester when I was 4, and that's when I started playing organized hockey.
Gotcha. Well, I'll come back to you in a minute. Since
Yep.
we're on Lucas, I'll just
Yep.
ask you a few questions, and then that gives you time to think about your answers.
Yep.
Do either of you want a Zin?
No,
I'm
thank
good.
You guys are so well behaved.
you. I'll take it.
Well, if you change your mind, there's one and some other flavors over there too. So just let me know. What kind of work are your parents in, or were they in?
So my mom's in video and event production. She works for a pharmaceutical company in New Jersey called Insmed. And then my dad is a consultant. So,
What kind of consultant?
management consultant.
Okay.
So he did a lot of time in the pharmaceutical field. He worked for Pfizer and then Bausch & Lomb. And then when they were sold to Valiant, he then left for a smaller company, Milestone Scientific, they were a med tech company. And then he left there to become a consultant.
Gotcha. And you mentioned earlier that one of your pregame rituals is prayer.
Yes.
Did your parents instill any kind of faith or any kind of like Northern Star into your upbringing?
I would say so. We're Jewish. We've always been Jewish and, really practiced for the high holidays. We weren't exactly religious per se, and then, I had my bar mitzvah at 13, still weren't really that religious. Then recently within the past, I've prayed since I dislocated my knee, just as I felt I didn't really want another serious injury, and I believe in this greater being, so I might as well ask him to protect me if he can. So that's kind of when that started. And then I continued that through high school. And then recently, actually, we've become significantly more religious. We've become very good friends with the local Chabad rabbi in New Jersey. And he's my father does Torah study with him. We've all taken classes with him. We've davened with him. We've had Shabbat dinner with him. So it's kind of become, I guess, more meaningful. But now I pray every morning. So I guess that's the difference, which now I'm praying every morning versus just before the games.
Yeah. What's a Shabbat dinner?
So Friday night, from sundown Friday night till sundown Saturday morning, it's the Sabbath, and it's God's day of rest, according to Judaism. I don't take part, I take part in Shabbat. I don't observe by Orthodox Jewish, I guess, law and expectation. I'm not Shomer Shabbos. But Shabbat dinner it's essentially the dinner Friday to kick off the Sabbath.
Can it be anything, or is it like a very preset menu that you're supposed to follow?
Technically can be anything. For them, it's an Orthodox household, so you won't have meat and dairy. But I want to say it was like chicken, some cucumber salad. All of his wife's food's delicious. And then, of course, dessert, which was baklava no, it wasn't baklava. It was, I'm trying to think.
I did have baklava for the first time this last Christmas. I
It's
didn't
delicious.
realize how good it was.
So good.
It's really dangerous.
It's so
You
good.
put a whole loaf in front of me, I'm taking it all down.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
It's
And then, did you have any siblings?
So I have a younger sister.
How much of an age difference between you two?
3 years, 3 months. So she's currently a sophomore. She's January, though, and I'm October. And because I wasn't held back, we're 4 years apart in school, which is kind of easy for me to remember because then I just have to remember what grade I'm in. But she's a sophomore in high school.
Are you guys close?
We're pretty close. We've grown significantly closer, actually, since I went to boarding school. I'll be honest. We were both utzes when we were younger. And, as all young siblings do, we fought. But then once we were both at the mature age to develop a relationship, we did. And she's been a great person to talk to and always asking for my advice, which is nice to see. So, yeah, it's been great.
I think, a lot of siblings fight. Me and my brother got in full-on fist fights when we were a kid, and he won most of them because he was older than me and bigger than me.
I wanted a brother for that. I did. My parents will tell the story the same way. I wanted when my sister came out originally, I was a little disappointed because I wanted a brother. But
Did
I'm
you
very
push him
happy
to have other kids? Were you like, come on, guys, have a boy?
I don't know if I pushed him, but I know apparently, when I saw it was a girl, I was very upset. I asked where my brother was, but I'm very happy now I have a sister.
Yeah. What about you? What's the story with you skating at 5? How'd that come about?
So my dad, he was born in Buffalo, New York, so he also pretty far north. And then moved to Detroit, which is a hockey powerhouse. They had the Red Wings, who were very dominant in the NHL. But he never actually played hockey, like club hockey. He would go out and skate on the pond, or skate on the lake that he lived on whenever it froze, which was a lot. So then it came time for me to play. I turned 5, started watching TV. He had a Red Wings game on because he loved the Red Wings still, and I was like, I want to try that. So then they stuck me into learn to skate, and we played this game. Actually, one of my fondest memories of that period of my hockey career was we played this game. Whole bunch of little kids, probably 50 little kids on the ice at once, 5 to 3 years old, and they would start at one end of the ice and skate to the other end of the ice. And coaches would take their gloves and they would throw them. They would throw their gloves at the kids, and I was terrified of this game. So I would get off the ice because I didn't want a coach throwing his glove at me. And that was the scariest thing of my hockey career. I was terrified of these coaches throwing gloves at me when I was 5 years old.
That was one of my favorite games, actually. They didn't throw them at us, but they used to shoot them. And they would shoot the big black pads.
Yeah.
It was thick, probably 4x4 inch black pads. And they would shoot those on the ice, so you'd have to jump over it. I love that game.
I was scared.
I love it more now as a coach, but
yeah. So then from there, I just played local club hockey for a while, and then made the jump to AAA which is kind of a lot more competitive.
I have a game I've been playing with my friends at the gym these last couple weeks. Have you guys ever tried smelling salts?
Yes, I love smelling salts.
I have some here if you want to take a whiff at some point.
Oh yeah,
I
love
it.
brain
wanna?
cells. You need all the brain
yeah. I'll
cells.
take yeah.
You gonna partake?
I'm not. I don't need it.
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. You're gonna gauge my reaction with how close you put it to your nose.
Oh, I will get it like right up. I'm insane about these things.
Oh shit. Let me fix this first.
No, this would be another hockey stereotype. We love smelling salts.
You want me to hold that for you for a second, or you want me to just?
Yeah, there you
Allow
go.
me.
What? Oh, there you go. We're buzzing.
Can you hand me the lid?
Yeah, I got it. Here we
So
go.
my game that I've been playing in the gym is I'll be holding the bottle like this,
Yeah.
and I'll walk up to a friend and I'll be like, "Hey Elliot, what's the smell like?" And then most people just naturally, because they trust me, they just stick their nose right in, not having any idea what to expect. And when it hits them, just seeing I did it to my buddy Grant today. He's like, "Whoa! Oh my God, what the fuck was it?" It was, dude, I was damn near in tears. It was so funny. So yeah, that's been my new game. It's a little bit evil, but you know, it's fun.
Yeah, I used to have one of those smelling salt bottles or whatever, and I would carry it around everywhere I went. Like, I'd be in the car driving home from a hockey game. It'd be late at night. I'm like, feeling a little tired. Not anymore. And get me home. So I love smelling salts.
Why do you not partake?
They kill brain cells.
So you can afford some. You know.
I don't know. I'm trying to keep as many as possible.
They don't kill brain cells. They're
It's
fine.
ammonia.
I mean, it does say on the bottle that you shouldn't sniff it more than 4 times a day. So I'm assuming it's not good for you if
Yeah,
it's
it's
telling
not
you to,
great,
you know,
but-
stop at some point.
Yeah. I think I have enough brain cells.
Yeah.
Questionable. It's questionable.
And then 2 similar questions to you: was religion or any kind of faith a part of your growing up?
No, not really. I was baptized Lutheran, but didn't really partake in anything. And then I went to a Catholic school, Catholic Jesuit school in St. Louis. But so I took theology classes, but didn't really do anything with it.
How about siblings?
Siblings, yeah, I got 2 brothers, and
What's the order?
I'm the oldest.
See, you were the one doing the beating up.
I do the beating up. Yeah. No, we would.
The guy who just said he was soft.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my parents were my dad loved it. My dad would like hold like boxing matches. He would be like, "Elliot, go fight Will," and we would fight a little wrestling match. You know, nobody would get hurt or anything. Not hurt badly. Well, no. Yeah.
You're doing a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah, I mean,
Dyfus at your house after this. I heard you make your children fight.
No, it's all in good fun, like, you know. But no, so I would be the one beating people up, which was fun. They got bigger, but never as big as me. I'm the tallest out of my family, so I still get to be the dominant one in the fights. And then you got my younger brother. We all play hockey, so kind of they followed in my footsteps. I'll say I paved the road. And then my youngest brother, I'm not going to call him the best, but he's definitely pretty good because he would go in the basement and we would shoot pucks at him. We make him be the goalie, and we get him, like, we throw gear on him and we just shoot pucks at him. And sometimes, you know, you'd try not to score and just, like, blast one into his head, but he'd have a helmet on. But it definitely toughened him up and made him a good hockey player. So I'll take credit for his skill.
So by forcing him to be the goalie, you guys turned your youngest brother into the weirdo.
Yeah, well, yeah, at the time. And then he did play goalie in, like, club hockey for a while, and then he switched to, he's a forward now. I'm glad he's no longer a goalie. He's not weird either. He wouldn't fit that stereotype. But, yeah, I made him. So if he's listening, I made you. I'm the reason you're good.
What's his name?
Thomas.
Thomas and Will.
Yep, Thomas.
What's
and
your
Will.
sister's name?
Ariella.
Ariella. There's a question I heard on another podcast recently that I thought was interesting. This one's for both of you. When you were growing up, what did you guys do to make friends, and how did you keep those friends?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think back to what a lot of them I felt just were like formed naturally. Like either through school, you're just with a person a lot, and then you're like, hey, you want to be friends? But same thing with hockey. Like with hockey, you're with people a lot, you want to be friends. So I feel like having a similarity was definitely kind of an easy start to a friendship, and just kind of go from there. In terms of keeping them, I would say for high school, I've done a good job. For my younger friends from Rochester, I would say I haven't done as good of a job, just because, I mean, I was like 10 when we left. So I wasn't big into, I would say technology is great for keeping friends. And I just didn't like really make the effort through technology before we left. But I would still say they're my friends today. So it's kind of a mixed answer, but all you.
For me, definitely like I made a lot of friends through just sports. Like that's all I talk about basically. Like when I was in preschool, so I'm a summer birthday, so my parents had the choice of either send me during my send me to kindergarten during my actual time, or like hold me back, let me mature, so I wouldn't be the oldest, I wouldn't be the youngest. And part of the reason they chose to hold me back and like send me into kindergarten late was I would sit and talk with the teachers about sports instead of playing with the other friends in preschool. So I would be over there talking about like the Winnipeg Jets are coming back as a hockey team, and they'd be like, go play with other kids, and I'd be like, they're throwing rocks at each other, I don't want to talk about sports. So and then once other kids started to develop kind of sports related talks, it made it easy. So yeah, just talk about sports with people. And then hockey wise, like everyone on your hockey team's your friend basically. So and everybody on other teams is your enemy. So it makes it pretty nice. You get to form
That's a great reaction.
you get to you get to form
Wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, I mean, you get to form a bond like through your hockey team over hating other kids. So it's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice. Yeah, I guess if you're heavily involved in sports, that's sort of an easy answer, because when you have that common ground where you're spending hours with each other, like hopefully you're just going to naturally sort of form friendships and bonds. But yeah, I wonder for a non-sports player how they might answer that question. But regardless, between your 9th and 10th grade year, you went to a military.
Could have been 8th to 7th, or it could be 7th to 8th. It was either 7th to 8th or 8th to 9th.
And what was it?
It was like a military summer camp. And I was just kind of interested in the military at that time. And my parents were like, here's a camp. It was called Camp Challenge. It was at the Army Navy Academy in Carlsbad. And it just kind of was technically a leadership camp, I believe. But it was just essentially the day in the life of a kid at the military school.
What'd you do?
Early morning PT, which is physical training. It was bright and early. I want to say it started at like 5:36-ish. And then you would have, I guess, it's not drill, but you would line up before breakfast after PT. You would go get breakfast, go back, change, shower. Then you would have classes during the day. Then you would have to line up again before lunch, go to lunch. Then a couple more classes in the afternoon, but usually you'd have like a free period, which they were right on the ocean, so it was great for swimming. I'm not sure. I got the middle band for the swim test, which I was really happy about, because I'm not the best swimmer, and it was the Pacific Ocean, so the combination wasn't great. But and then after free period, you would usually have drill. Then you would line up again, dinner. They would have like an evening activity, then to bed, and do it again the next day.
Cool.
But it was a fun experience.
Overall, good
Sure.
experience. Nice. What about you, Elliot? Did you have any like unusual, or not even unusual, but just like unique happenings, middle school, high school, outside of hockey?
I mean, I also went to a military, so after my junior year in high school, I went to a military camp at West Point, called the Summer Leadership Experience, and it's actually hard to get into. It's like a 30% acceptance rate for this camp, and it's all these kids that want to go to West Point or are considering it. So they'll just walk you through it. We'll do like, the first day at West Point, they'll like just screaming at you. Like once you get there, you get off the bus, they're like heads forward, like no talking, like, and they scream at you the entire time. They're like, is that as fast as you can walk? And then you'll walk faster, and they're like, I didn't say to run. And then like they're constantly like messing with your head. So they're trying to get you to understand what a West Point cadet kind of goes through, which was really cool to experience. And I ended up like West Point was number one on my list probably for that summer. And then I was kind of like, do I really, like, with all these injuries, like 4 years of hardcore physical training, and I don't know that my shoulder that's already dislocated can do that. So I decided not to apply. But it was a blast.
You sort of just answered this, but did either of you, if it wasn't for hockey, consider going the military route after high school, or was that not really ever in the cards for you?
Was not in the cards for me. I know my strengths and my weaknesses. I have a couple friends at West Point, and it's great for them. It's not right for me.
Yeah. What were you like in high school versus what you're like now?
That's a good question. I don't know. In total honesty, I'm trying to think about my big, I'd say less mature.
How old are both of you, by the way?
I'm 19.
19.
Oh, you're both so young.
Yeah.
I don't know why I assumed you were like 20, 21, 22, which isn't that much older, but you're both very articulate for being 19 years old, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely sending this to my father now.
Listen to what David said.
Dad, yeah.
Yeah, I guess since not too much time has passed, maybe not any huge differences, but I mean, even that first year out of high school, though, you feel like you've changed, or like even become more self-aware of anything that you want to change as you get older?
I mean, I would say my time management has kind of changed. So, I mean, I went to a boarding school, so in terms of the workload at Texas wasn't that, freshman year wasn't a crazy difference at all. But just, luckily we had a rink on campus. Like everything was very easy and very accessible within probably 5 minutes. And obviously Texas's campus is much larger, and I'm doing more because it's less school and more actual, doing what you want to do essentially. So I would say learning how to balance all of those things definitely improved from a prior, very structured high school experience.
I mean, socially, I kind of grew out of like sports. Like I've talked about it a little bit before. Sports was like everything to me in high school. Like I played hockey and lacrosse. So like we won state my sophomore year. We won state in hockey. And instead of going to the after party, which was awesome, I went home and slept because I had a lacrosse tournament the next morning. I regret that. Hearing stories. So I feel like I'm starting to go out and like hang out with friends a little bit more. Like I had friends in high school, I just didn't hang out with them. So now I
Happy for you.
I had friends, I just didn't hang out with them.
Now I'll hang out with Robbins. It's
clip that out. No, he's definitely, I would say from just my relationship with him, you've definitely come out of your shell a significant amount. I mean, we were really weirded out by him at first.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll be totally, we're on the podcast. I'll be totally, he came in the car with us to practice, and he didn't say a word. He just sat there and
What's
sat.
that? When was that?
Both to and from.
When was that?
first practices, and there were two rookies.
Wasn't me.
Which are just it was.
I was with Tactics.
Were you?
I never rode with you. You weren't weirded out by me.
It was our other rookies.
No,
actually.
no.
None of them spoke very like. The three of them. I came in with like 4 other guys that I'm really close with, 6 other guys total, and between us, me and the 4 other guys were a lot more outspoken than the other 2, but we were never quiet rookies, and these guys were nice and quiet.
I was the louder one.
He was the loudest.
He was the loudest of the quietest.
Yeah.
That means we get about 5 words out of him a practice.
Yeah.
Do you think though? I can be like that too. Like the thing I referenced earlier, it's called the Internet Marketing Party. It's every month. I really like to go just to help myself break out of my own shell, even to this day. And like, and here I'm very comfortable. Part of it is we're in my home. It's just the 3 of us. But I go to this thing. There's like 150 other people, and I am by far the quietest person. If someone ever asks me why, I'm like, I'm here to listen. I'm not here to talk. But I'm also just evaluating like what can I get away with and what can I not with each person, and that's a lot of people to sort of evaluate. Do you feel like you're sort of reading the room? Is it a shyness? Like why do you think you're quieter when you're in a new setting?
I think it's more like group wise. I'm like, if I'm one-on-one with somebody, I will talk to them, like, or if I'm in like a smaller group. But when you get into a hockey locker room, there's so much going on. There's everyone screaming, talking about what they did the night before, and like you can kind of be, I don't know, stressed out by how much is going on. But once you get in a one-on-one situation, it's a lot better, for me at least.
Yeah, I'm a yapper. I love to talk.
He does. He talks a lot.
I talk a lot. I mean, I don't think. Yeah, I'm definitely the one who speaks the most in that locker room, I would say.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Sometimes I want to know what's going through your head while he's talking. Just because you'll get these looks on your face.
I'm just like some of the stuff I'm hearing for the first time too. Like
podcasts have that effect on people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to ask? I had a follow-up question. Being quiet. Fuck. It's long gone. At what point did hockey become something that you were just playing as a kid to like, I'm going to do this thing? Was there ever a turning point, or was it sort of just like part of life that has never really stopped yet?
That's what I would say. I would say part of life that hasn't really stopped. I mean, I've always kind of, neither of my parents were into hockey at all. Like, it's always kind of been propelled by me and them supporting what I've wanted to do, which I'm very grateful for. But I would say the reason I play hockey is because I love to play hockey. And the second that ever changed, like had that ever changed, or will it ever change in the next 2 years, then that's what I'll call my career, because I love playing it because I love it, and I wouldn't play for any other reason.
Why do you love it so much?
It's a good question. It's just brought me so much in terms of, travel, experiences. Most of my best friends are former teammates or current teammates. And it's just like it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know how to describe it, but the ability to you're doing so much. It's moving at such a quick pace. And, I mean, winning's nice too.
Yeah.
So.
You want me to answer why I like hockey?
What was the question I asked you? Oh, wait, was there ever a turning point where it went from being something that was just fun to like more of a pursuit or a passion or something like that? Or
yeah, I'm with him. I don't think it ever was. Well, I mean, it kind of became a passion once I started playing AAA. That's
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's a huge investment. So like, if it's not a passion for you, I mean, my parents were. It was probably $20,000 a year for me to play hockey.
Holy cow!
So I mean, it's a lot. It's a huge investment. Traveled probably 9 times a year, lots of flights, lots of missed school days. So if it's not a passion, you're kind of wasting your parents' time a little bit, but and money. But like, I think it never kind of switched away from like it's just for fun. Like, I always played it because it was fun. And my parents were kind of the same way as this is. They weren't pushing me. Like, I had friends where I'd get in the car with them after a game, and their parents would scream at them, be like, "You're an embarrassment." Like, I had a friend one time who he had a bad game, and he was wearing. So I played for the AAA Blues, and he had a Blues hat on, and the dad threatened to take away his hat because he was embarrassment to the logo, and it was like, wow. I thought it was funny at the time. I still do. I still think it's pretty funny. I think he thinks it's pretty funny. But like my parents were never like that.
Do you guys know? This is completely off topic. I apologize. Do you guys know Cole Nevins?
Yeah, he's a ZBT with me.
Cool.
So I do, yes.
Yeah, dude. Cole is he's probably one of like the first 20 guests on this podcast back when like. I don't even think that many episodes were live, and it was hard getting people on because I think they like were maybe thinking like, "Oh, is this a scam or a real thing?" But dude, Cole is awesome. I love that man.
Great guy.
Yeah. At any point of your hockey career, has there ever been someone that you expected would be in your corner and they weren't?
I don't know. Like
That's sort of cool that you guys had a pause. Sounds like you had.
I'm
you already
trying to rack
vouched
my
for your
mind.
parents that they were pretty supportive,
yeah,
but
my
it
parents
sounds
were
like
great.
yeah.
I mean, all of my coaches have been great, and I would say no. I would say it's one of the things I've kind of valued most in my career, and in terms of my decision. You know, when we moved to New Jersey, I stayed with one team throughout my 6 years before prep. Like a lot of guys switch teams. I was never about that. The organization was a great organization, great people, and then when I went to Lawrenceville, like played 4 years there. So I'd say I've never really switched teams. So the people that I've been loyal to kind of have always been loyal back. So I would say no.
Lucas, you spent 6 years, I think. Yeah, 6 years with the New Jersey Devils Youth.
Yes.
Who's this guy?
So he's the head of the organization. His name's John DeNorsha. He's also the head of the Atlantic District. And he was my coach for, I want to say, 3 of the years, I believe. Great guy. Really couldn't ask for a better guy to run the organization and the team as well. You know, they're kind of, in a world where there's plenty of New Jersey hockey teams, they're all about development rather than winning. And I would say that worked out really well for our team because they kind of went hand in hand. And obviously, you know, they do care about winning, but it's about developing the players as both players and people first. And I want to say 6 or 7 kids on our team went off to prep school, which I guess in most places it's considered higher than AAA. Sorry, I don't know if that's true.
It's not at all true in St. Louis, but that's all right.
So he was able to, you know, place us in better places for our futures for both hockey and school as well. So I'm very grateful for him. And he also lets me coach the Atlantic District over the summer, which is exciting stuff. So I may be going to Austria this summer.
Hell yeah.
Which would be really cool.
Have you been there already?
So, yes. Yeah. So I went there as a player, and now there's a chance I go back as a coach, which would be exciting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Question for both of you. To me, the crazy thing about hockey is me and my family go ice skating like once a year around Christmas, as a lot of families probably do. It's really hard when you only go once a year. Like most of the families out there, we all look like idiots. We're just trying to stay up, right? And maybe get off holding onto the wall at some point so we can actually sort of get into some sort of stride. But not only are you skating, but you also have to keep your eyes on the other players that are on the team while also following the puck. You guys seem like really talented players from where I sit.
I appreciate it.
And like I've watched a little football, a little soccer. To me, just me, this could be a really hot take. I feel like hockey's got to be one of the more difficult sports. Do you guys think so? Like in terms of just like managing the rink? Do you guys feel like that, or since you were skating by age 2, is it just so second nature that something that appears hard to me is just like for you, it's no big deal. You're just like, yeah, it's another day.
No, I mean, I would say there's also, you know, levels to this as there is to everything. If I'm out on the ice with NHL players, I mean, yeah, it's going to be extremely challenging, and I will look like a cone out there. Like there's no doubt about that. But I would say it's definitely a challenging sport, but it turns into second nature. Like, you kind of know, at least the majority of the time you're on the ice, you know where you're going with the puck before you ever touch the puck.
I think it's your development is slow, right? Like, you start off with skating, and then once you get skating down, you move on to stick handling. And like for the first 3 years of your life, it's all about like skating and stick handling. You don't even focus about like the actual game itself. It's developing skills. So I think developing those skills early and then translating into the game, like actual game, like keeping track of who's on the ice and where to pass the puck. I think because it's a slow developing sport, like we at least don't realize how difficult it's become because we like build on certain skills. But I think from like an outside looking in, it's definitely one of the tougher sports because you've got the physical, like the physicality of a football, while also, you know, the skill of like I don't know, what's a skill sport?
I'm trying to think.
I don't know.
Archery.
Archery,
That's
yeah.
what
Yeah, there you go.
Precision
Archery.
of an archer. The
Yep.
precision of an archer.
Darts,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think for a lot of people, you could take somebody from a different sport and put them in hockey and a hockey player in their sport, and the hockey player would do better than they would in comparison. That's my take.
I agree. There was like a couple of years ago, Jalen Ramsey, the football player, made a statement that he would be like what, an NHLer in like 6 months or
Faster
something.
than they would be an NFL.
Faster, yeah. And I mean, they got him on the ice and he couldn't even stand up. So and the dude likes to talk. So I don't know. I don't like the guy, but hopefully he doesn't see this. I would be scared of him, but he's a scary guy.
I could take you, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, come at me.
We're getting some hot takes from you tonight. I really like it. When you're out there and your team scores a goal and the crowd just goes wild, what's going through your head in that moment?
Did I score or did somebody else on my team score?
Let's say you scored.
All right, I scored. I mean, first things first, you got to hit the celly. So whatever celebration really you're going with. I'm a big fist pump guy. Keep it nice and simple. I don't score too often, that's why. So I'm usually shocked myself. But yeah, I would say just kind of usually taking in the atmosphere would be a big thing, especially when, you know, when we're playing a rival like A&M. Like, a lot of my friends are there, so, you know, I'll hear them, I'll put a big smile on my face for a little bit, and then go through, you know, huddle up with the boys, and then skate by the bench, fist bumps, and that's pretty much it. But usually I'm in the back of the line because I'm not doing too much out there.
I'm going to ask you sort of a similar question on the same lines. Do you source energy from the crowd at all? Like, if the crowd's a lot quieter versus if the crowd's a lot louder, does that change your experience?
100%. Yeah, like if the crowd is quiet, it's going to be a less physical game. Like, I don't know, when the crowd's going crazy, you just want to go hit some kid and get the crowd going even some more. So like, I don't know, when there's a lot of crowd noise, you want to go kill a kid. I don't know, it just happens.
I'm a big fan of away crowds. I'd rather be a villain than, not than a hero, but like, away crowds give me more energy because I just love, like, I love making away crowds upset. Just makes me happy. Like
Yeah, like when
there's
you can go
nothing better than killing the energy in a building.
Yeah,
When you're away.
when it's super loud and you go Selly right into their students, like right into their fan section, and they like are flipping you off. It's great.
That's what I love playing at A&M. Like, playing at A&M is one of my favorite things because they'll sell it out every time, and I mean, we've had pretty good success there recently. So we'll see.
Not
We're
that
1-1 this year, so come to our A&M games, by the way.
yeah.
January 24th. 24th.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, it's better in an away environment, at least in my opinion.
If we were actors, I feel like all of us would probably be going after villain roles. Have you ever seen a movie where like there's someone that the villain, whoever it is, like you just hate their guts, but then at the same time you're like, man, I wonder if Ben Affleck, or I don't know why him, I don't know if he's ever played a villain, but you're like, man, that they must have so much fun doing that role. Like, it must be great because they're probably not like that in real life. In real life, they're probably one of like the kindest people and their friends. But like, it's a way to sort of be able to play that villain role, which I don't know. I think I agree with you 100%. I think it'd be sort of fun.
I agree. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I could be a good villain. So here are my headshots. Anyone, if you want to reach out.
You know where to find me.
Exactly.
Is when I was listening to that podcast that I mentioned earlier, I forget the name, but is it true that in college hockey leagues versus like the AHL or the NHL, you're not allowed to fight?
Is there no fighting officially in college?
No fighting in college
Yeah.
hockey, yeah. Because they also have to wear the cages, so if you think, like, you drop the gloves and you punch a cage with your fists, it's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's no fighting in a lot of the European hockey leagues as well.
None?
None. So
That's boring.
Well, I don't know about none, but I know in most of the top leagues, like the Liga, the Dell, it's an actual immediate suspension rather than a 5-minute penalty.
Yeah.
And
Canadian
it's
Hockey
actually-
League, too.
Yeah.
The CHL in Canada just banned it because Canadians are soft
But
when it comes to hockey.
It's been proven that it actually increases like injuries from larger hits and stuff because nobody's there to stand up. So I think college hockey should make fighting legal. So I don't think many people will fight. As he said, you have cages on, so to actually fight, it's a whole process. But it should be a thing.
Yep, I agree.
You did mention though that you've hit a few other guys, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean,
So you guys can still get away with it. It's just like maybe not as tolerated.
well, I mean, yeah, at big hits, you can still hit somebody, you know, like checking wise, you can still check somebody super hard, and that'll hurt them. Like, catch
Yeah,
somebody.
usually as long as the helmets aren't coming off, you can get a few shots in here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like after the whistle, you'll push each other, punch each other. They won't call it. As long as you don't drop the gloves, you're fine.
Yeah. I took my buddy Ben to a Texas Stars game recently, and he was like, I don't care who wins or who loses. I just want there to be a high-quality fight tonight. And I was like, well, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
And I forget who the opposing team was, but they checked one of the Stars, and the guy turned around, knocked his helmet off, pulled his jersey overhead, started punching him in the gut, then knocked him out cold before the rest could get to him.
Yeah.
And Ben was like, he was elated. He was so, I've never seen that man so happy in my life.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to watch.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
But yeah, I'm not really built as a fighter. I'll go if I have to, but
I don't know. You're a physical guy. He can fight. He's selling himself short.
I'm 5'10". I can't fight anybody at least over my height for sure.
Take some smelling salts right before a game.
Yeah,
You might
there
fight.
you go.
Maybe
Just a bad influence on you guys.
we have people to do that. Isaac Leonard would fight for me.
Yeah. Me and my buddy, we joke about, we have this fake gym that we're making a business plan for that we claim we're going to open one day and we never will. But one of the like niches to it is that at this gym, as soon as you walk through the door, you just get blasted with smelling salts.
That'd be great. I would love it.
And that's the kind of members we'd be
Yeah,
looking for. It's
that's-
people like you, Elliot.
Let's make it happen.
I will not be joining, unfortunately.
Soft.
So, yeah, he wants like techno music, and once it gets dark out, we're gonna shut down like most of the lights, and there's gonna be like strobe lights. And he's like, we're probably gonna have to go to like Miami to do this
Yeah.
and to make this work. I'm like, the direction we're taking this, yes, Miami might be a perfect spot for it.
For sure.
Maybe Austin. You think we could pull that off in Austin, or is that a bit too ravey?
Awesome. I would
Don't
show
look
up.
at me. I already said the smelling salts is my turn away.
I would find enough customers that would show up that it would happen.
Yeah, and with Rogan here, I bet smelling salts is probably becoming a pretty big thing in Austin.
Yeah.
So they're sniffing that stuff all the time in his show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're so good.
They kill brain
They get you
cells.
going. They just get you going.
Yeah, they do. Don't you feel a little bit more focused after you hit those?
Yeah. I mean, focus and just, I don't know. It just wakes you up.
Yeah, between the smelling salts and the Zen, it makes for a really good podcast episode for me. It's all my unhealthy vices. Yeah. Where do you want to go with your hockey career? Like, do you think once you graduate college, it's going to stop, or do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Why?
I don't see a real career in the future for me in hockey. Maybe I'll coach my son's team one day if I have a son. Fingers crossed I do, so I can coach his team. But I don't know. It's just making it to here has been enough for me, and I see myself going in the business world rather than the professional hockey world.
Yeah, I think outside of the NHL, the AHL, kind of the North American leagues, and then very few in Europe. There's not really many leagues where you can make a living, so you'd have to work 2 jobs. But I think I would be all right with that. I said I wanted to work in the Middle East someday. They recently, the UAE recently created a hockey league, so I would be thrilled to be able to play in that someday, while also working somewhere else.
There's a question I wanted to ask you, Lucas, since I can't find it.
Does it have to do with hockey
here we
in
go.
the Middle East?
No.
Oh.
But that is on my list.
All right.
You volunteered for the Rochester Ice Cats and the New Jersey Daredevils for 2 years each, helping developmentally disabled kids and adults to learn and love the game of hockey as much as you do. Why'd you want to volunteer with those groups?
Yeah, so it started out when I was really young. I was probably 9 or 10 at the time. And one of my mom's friend's children was on the team, the Rochester Ice Cats at this time. And I just started volunteering, and I was just having a great time. You know, I like to share my passion of hockey with others, and these were kids and all the way up to adults that were really passionate about hockey that unfortunately didn't have some abilities that I was fortunate enough to have. And so just the opportunity to kind of help these kids become better players, as well as forming very good relationships with them, was a thing I love doing.
Heck yeah.
Great guy alert.
Great guy alert. Since you mentioned it, yeah, you both played overseas, right? You were in Jordan. Was Israel? You went to Israel.
I was in Israel.
He played
You were in
hockey in
Israel.
Israel. I just went to Jordan to study Arabic.
Why did you go to Jordan to study Arabic?
So I started learning Arabic freshman year of high school, and I really enjoyed it. And then the State Department actually has a scholarship that they hand out, and you can apply for, called the National Security Language Initiative for Youth, and they'll send you abroad to study Arabic, and they'll pay for everything for you. So they paid for my housing. I lived with a local family, and then they paid for my food, flights, everything that needed to be paid for. They covered it, so I was able to live over there for, I think it was 7 weeks, and just study Arabic at a local school.
Can you speak some Arabic for us?
Marhaba, ana esmi Elliot.
My name is Elliot.
Yeah, it's like, hi, my name's Elliot.
Do you speak it pretty well?
I'm all right, yeah. It's a super hard language to learn. It's one of the hardest because they don't even write the same direction that we do. So,
Do they go like right to left or something?
yeah, right to left.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And then their alphabet's completely different. So it takes a while to learn that.
Yeah. Why'd you play in? Sorry,
Israel?
I forgot. Yeah, thank you, Israel.
Yeah, so the league kind of reached out to me when I was going into my junior year of high school. I was like, unfortunately, I think it was like had camps already for that summer, so I didn't end up doing that summer. But I talked to my parents, and I was like, next summer, can I go play hockey in Israel? They were like, yes, so we stayed in contact. I ended up getting to go over. I played with the Bat Yam Dolphins in the Israel Elite Hockey League. It was a great experience. You know, it was the first time I'd ever been to Israel, so that was a big part of it as well, with me being Jewish. And I have an uncle over there that's Orthodox, so I got to go to Shabbat at his house, which he partakes in Orthodox customs, so no phones during the next day. Electricity doesn't go on and off, only meat or dairy. So it was kind of a very new experience for me that I'm really grateful for. I'd say it taught me a lot about my Judaism, and fortunately we lost in the finals. But there were also a lot of really players that had played at high levels before that played in the league as well, which was nice to play against that competition. There was a number 1 overall pick in the OHL draft, a couple guys from the KHL, one that actually played with Alex Ovechkin and won a championship there. So it was good to kind of see the Israeli talent as well.
When you guys were overseas, was there anything that you saw about either of those cultures that was pretty dramatically different from cultures you've seen here in the U.S. that you're like, that's sort of nice? I think I'm going to try to bring this back with me and make it a thing in Austin or Jersey or wherever you happen to be living at the time.
I'll go. I like living with my host family. I noticed how like their attention to detail and like how much they cared about their house being cleaned. I think that was really cool, and they described it as like they were super religious, so they described it as God gave us this house. Like we should take care of what God gave us. So I thought that was really cool. Not that I'm gonna take back the faith aspect necessarily, but like keeping your house clean and like understanding that even having a place to live is you're super fortunate to have it. I think taking care of it's like a very good thing to do.
Yeah, that's one stereotype about like younger guys, I guess, is that, or even just like guys who are maybe living alone or just with like other guy roommates, is that your place can get pretty messy. And one of my buddies was telling me he's bringing a lady friend back home with him. Before she came over, he had to spend about 6 hours cleaning up. And I said, 6 hours?
Wow.
And maybe this is just because I'm in my mid-30s now, but like it does just feel fucking good to walk through your front door and have everything be clean and like, or maybe I'm just a clean freak. Maybe I'm the oddball out. Your take on this?
No,
your
it's
dorm room a
definitely-
mess?
My dorm room's pretty clean, I will say. I didn't make my bed today. But other than that, I mean, nothing on the floors. Everything's folded and away. Like
Wild. A clean 19-year.
yeah.
No, I'm sure there's
Once
more
again,
than just
Mom,
the
my
three of
dorm
us.
room's clean. My room at home, I don't keep as well. I don't really. It's probably because whenever I'm at home, I'm just rotting in bed for the most part. So, I mean, like I'm not doing anywhere near as much, but I like it pretty clean.
What about you? Was there anything that you wanted to try to take back home after that trip?
Yeah, I would just say I just learned a lot about Judaism that I wasn't really exposed to before, and also never fully, I guess, comprehended being a Jew in Israel versus being a Jew in America, in terms of, in America they're kind of broken up into Reform, Conservative, or Orthodox. Whereas, while there are different parts, Jerusalem and Tel Aviv are very different, everyone's just Jewish rather than breaking up into sects. So it was definitely kind of an interesting thing. Also, I mean, not working on Saturday. Like, everything shut down on Saturday in observance of Shabbat. So kind of taking a day of rest to honor God, no matter what, whether it was Saturday, Sunday. I think those are the two. I can't think of any other, I guess, significant days of rest for religions, but it was just kind of nice to have a pause to just kind of reflect and think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard because with scheduling episodes, it's hard for me to have like a set one day off, but somewhere in those 7 days, I do try to have a day where like it's just, there's not really much going on and I can just be a lazy fuck the whole day. And it's not really a religious thing. It's more, I just think it's good for us. If you're grinding at 1,000 miles per hour, 365 days a year, that's just a really easy case for burnout.
I agree.
I'm slightly going to change the topic, but before I do, is there any dark side to the sport?
I don't think so. I mean, I would say know the organization and programs you're going to. I think some of these things are just straight up money grabs and won't actually help you as a player. So I guess for parents, that's that. That's the only thing I can really think of, though.
Going off of that, like so everybody wants to keep playing hockey after high school. Not everyone's good enough, but people will capitalize on that and create fake leagues and promise their kids like, you'll go here, and they'll make tons of money off of it because they still get to charge kids and like give these kids false hope that they're actually going to go places when they're just not. So they'll make a ton of money, and like I had a buddy who went off to play in Canada in like one of these like fake leagues almost, and they stuffed them all in like one house. There was like 13 kids living in one house, and like they didn't have enough beds, and there's definitely a dark side to going off and playing juniors hockey. I think youth hockey Cost-wise, it's way too expensive. Like, the average family probably can't afford for their kid to play high-level hockey, which that's not good. Like, to grow the sport, we're going to need to lower that. Anything?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's
Yeah, 20,000 a year. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's at some colleges that's a semester right there.
yeah, it's definitely. I would say he had it more just because of a less centralized location. It's definitely still expensive, but it was, I want to say, probably half that in New Jersey, which is once again still expensive. But
You guys didn't have to travel as
no,
much.
exactly. We can just drive
Yeah.
up to Connecticut,
Yep.
Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an expensive sport. There's no doubt.
So, according to ChatGPT, my friend, do you guys use that much? Do you ever plug stuff in there just for fun?
I plead the fifth.
It's good. I plead the fifth too.
Yep.
I like that.
Oh, I use it all the time. But according to ChatGPT, positive impact of NIL is athlete compensation and empowerment, professional development opportunities, and increased industry employment. I did try to look up how many jobs have been created as a result of NIL being a thing. I couldn't find a good answer for that one, unfortunately. But some of the negative impacts is recruitment disparities, which may undermine the competitive balance in college sports, regulatory challenges with varying state-by-state laws, and potential for exploitation through unscrupulous agents to get students to sign for unfavorable contracts. Was that sort of what you were just referencing a bit? Maybe not to NIL specifically, but in terms of like getting students to sign deals that maybe are not the best for them.
Yeah, I mean, there are hockey, I don't know what they're technically called, advisors, I think, technically.
Yep.
And there's a lot of them. And anyone can kind of say they're an advisor. So I would say it's, if you're going to choose to make the choice to have an advisor, know who you're working with probably should come as a reference. But there are some advisors that will take a kid's money and say, oh, well, we're going to place him here and here.
Yep.
And the kid does not end up there.
Yeah, so that definitely does happen, yeah.
In terms of NILs there, and I will just preface this like I do in many episodes, that we're just three people talking, so take this part of a conversation with a grain of salt. Hopefully it just helps you form your own thought patterns if this has been something that's top of mind for anyone listening in the audience lately. But for you guys, NILs, positive, negative, somewhere in the middle, depends how you look at it. Give me whatever's on your mind in regards to what we sort of talked about on the phone a little bit.
I'll go here. I don't think it's good for like an athlete sport. Like if you were a high level athlete playing Division I football, it's great for you, right? Like you get to make a whole bunch of money while doing something that you would normally do for free. However, from like an actual sports side of things, and like from like me who just wants to watch sports, I think it takes away from kind of the competitiveness, because you're gonna have big schools that can pay a ton of money to get the top kids. So I think that's definitely the downside. Like it gives you a less competitive product because of the distribution of wealth between schools.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of gives power to the athletes, and takes away power from the schools, which is something that I agree with, because I mean, you look at Reggie Bush's Heisman, he should still have that Heisman, like, because were they paying for his mother's house?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
But with NIL, obviously he would have that Heisman. But as an observer, I do kind of agree with. It's got a big grain of salt, which is you're not gonna see many upsets anymore, really, from really small schools to powerhouses. Obviously we did see Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, but
Who's now in the national championship,
which is a crazy one in the era of NIL.
Yep.
But I think it's both good and bad, and it definitely takes away from a lot of the Cinderella stories I think that we would have seen.
But I think also like there's no longer college athletes, like no longer like student athletes. Their athlete takes up most of their job. Like they make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of being an athlete, and they're just in a different tier than all the other students. Like they're no longer one of you, like back in the old days, yeah.
Because you've been around so long.
Yeah. Before I was born.
Right.
Like a college student, yeah, they would have a college athlete would have all the fame, and like you'd see him play on Saturdays or whatever. They'd be like, oh, the dude's awesome, but he'd still be living in the dorms, still living in how you live. He would live the same lifestyle as you did as a college student. Now they live a millionaire lifestyle as college students. So there's a distance between you and the people that are representing your school.
How do you think this will be a hard question to answer, because it's hard to guess how you would act about something that's not happening in actuality. But let's say you did get an influx of like $1 million in your bank account tomorrow, for, however, whether it's jerseys or whatever, you got this influx of money. You think it would change for better, worse, or not at all your relationship with your current friends and maybe other athletes who aren't seeing that same influx of money? Or how do you think those dynamics would change your life?
I don't know. I'd be shocked. Probably call my parents and tell them something's wrong. I just made $1 million without doing anything. But no, I don't. I'd hope it wouldn't change my current relationships. I don't know exactly what I'd be getting $1 million for, but probably throw most of it in the market and hope that it grows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really know what else to do.
I don't know. I think I wouldn't want it to change my relationship, but I think unfortunately it probably does have aspects that like you can't control. Like you'll be almost used for like your $1 million because you're the rich college student that people want to have buy the Uber and all that stuff. So I think you won't want it to change your relationship, but I think it will,
Very probable.
Yeah. Like, and you can go do stuff that other college students can't. Like, if you were a millionaire, you could, as a college student, you could go explore Austin every day with no budget. Like, and you'd want to do that because Austin's cool.
Yep.
But as a college student, you can't really do that. So your friends will be like, like, I'd love to go, but I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to use, like, do you guys know who this guy is by chance? Chris Williamson?
I don't.
He's another podcaster here in Austin, and he's I don't know him extremely well, but I've met him a couple times, and let's say like in year 1 of podcasting he made $100 for argument's sake, and let's say in year 2 he made 10,000, and then in year 3 he made 30, and it was this like slow, steady climb that a lot of his personality and his values probably didn't change through that slow climb, and he's probably very much the same person or a better person because he has grown through his own journey. But then if anyone, not, just us three or Chris or whoever it is we're talking about, if you have that immediate change versus that slow ramp up, like it's hard to imagine that it's not going to change who you are,
Yeah.
Just to get, and on the flip side, not just with money too, but like if you guys were driving home tonight, God forbid, like you broke your leg, like it's really hard to say like, oh, my life isn't going to be on a different trajectory from this instant change that was just forced upon me that I have no choice about, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I agree
as well. No, that's very straightforward.
Any other thoughts around NILs?
Not really.
If somebody wants to do a sponsorship with me,
yeah, we're open.
I'll throw $10 your way. Get me a jersey. I'll wear it. Come yell at the opposing team with you at your next day in game on the 24th. Let's nerd out over Greek mythology for a minute.
This is all you.
So I actually did make it through probably about half of this book. I didn't make it through all of it.
Impressed.
Wow.
But this is, I'm going to butcher this name. How do you say that name? You say it. You don't know how to say it either?
Dolaire? I don't know. I can't say
It's
it.
your book.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can say the
The
author's name
author's-
properly. It's
So this is the Delaire Book of Greek Myths. Real quick before we get into this, I will just say, do either of you need to use the bathroom or anything?
I'm good.
You're good for now. My sort of takeaway is that these gods are like very petty.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the some kid got can do the smallest thing, and the mom is gonna be like, well, I'm gonna take away your powers and kill you now. And I'm just like, Jesus, like they're so fucking harsh with each other.
it's definitely yeah, I mean, it's definitely harsh relationships, I would say. I mean, it's always interesting when you have a trio to start with of one, the god of like the sky, the god of the sea, and then the god of the underworld. You know, when you're starting with a triangle that's all pulling at each other as your big three, I think it can only kind of expand from there, and you see that with the other gods and goddesses. But
How'd you get into this? How'd you
All right.
start nerding out
so
over
it
Greek
was
mythology?
it was one of the first books actually that my father read with me. So we read Neil Gaiman's oh my gosh, blanking on the name. I should know. Oh, the Graveyard Book. And then like the second book we read was Greek mythology. And it was just kind of an introduction to all of these, gods and goddesses. I don't remember, like, I didn't really stick with Greek mythology too much, but I loved the Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson series. And that was like, those were my books. And since Poseidon, obviously, Percy Jackson's a demigod, so his father's Poseidon and his mother's a person. And I just like, those books were my anytime I had to do reading for middle school, it was a book in that series. And I just kind of like stuck basically. So it's kind of an interesting. I love the Greeks. Like I used to. Once I learned a little bit about Greek history, like I wanted to be a Spartan soldier so badly. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So the movie, like the 300. I don't know if have you seen it?
Of course.
All right. I wanted to be King Leonidas more than anything. Like probably 10, 11 years old after I learned Greek mythology in school. It was my favorite thing.
How old would you have been when 300 came out?
I don't know. Probably, I think it was 2007, 2008, something like that.
So you were like 5.
I was like 3.
2.
Yeah, 2,
Yeah,
3.
2 or 3.
Did your parents let you see it, or did
No,
you see it?
I've seen it after.
That would have been hilarious.
That would have
if they,
been.
like, took you to the theater and.
Yeah, that would have been.
See 300. What's your favorite Greek movie, or Greek like Greek themed? We really don't have too many, do we? We got
There's
Troy,
not.
we got 300, Clash of the Titans 1 and 2. I don't think they made a third.
I don't think they made a 30. I would have to say probably the 3. I loved Leonidas. Like he was my hero. I think it had to do with his name starting with L and my name starting with L. So somewhere way back in there, I think I thought I could be him. But I would have to say the 300 probably.
That one scene where the ambassador or someone is coming into town and near the beginning of the movie and he kicks him into the water.
Yeah,
Dude,
into the well.
That movie just has. I'm overdue to rewatch it. It's been several years, so my memory of it is
Yes.
a little foggy. But there's definitely a few scenes from that movie where they're just so badass.
So, I mean, it's Spartan soldiers were. I mean, historically, and I think it did a good job portraying their stand. So
Do you think they would make good hockey players?
they could skate, sure.
They've
Yeah,
got
if
the
they could
top.
skate.
If they could skate, I wouldn't want to step on the ice with them. But
Did you ever venture down the Greek mythology?
I loved Percy Jackson, but and I thought it was cool, like demigod or whatever. Like cool to imagine, like maybe I'm a demigod. Maybe someday I'm gonna wake up and I'm
You're
gonna be a
not that
demigod.
special.
But you don't know that yet.
if you are, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm coming after you if I am one. But I mean, I didn't really go that deep into it. Like I didn't want my name to. Who'd you want to be?
King Leonidas. He
Yeah,
was the Spartan king.
Is
Yeah.
that how you pronounce it? It's not Leonidas?
It could be Leonidas too.
Okay.
Yeah, I never had dreams of
Could
being
very
that guy.
How much of a
So-
fan are you really? You don't even know how to pronounce your favorite
I know,
character's name.
That's on me.
He's a fake fan.
When I read through the Hercules story, the Disney movie that they made was actually pretty. They kept like most of it intact. I don't know if you've read it
They did.
recently,
I
but
haven't. It's been-
they removed the fact that his mom got jealous about something, and so she slipped him a poison, and he killed his wife and kids. And he's like, yeah, Disney would take that part out. That's pretty gruesome
It's
to
not
be
exactly
murdering.
child friendly.
No, but like one thing the movie sort of touched on, but not in a way, was he did something bad, so he had to go do his 12 labors. And then there is that one scene in the Disney movie where they show him going after, when the muses are singing like "Hero to Zero," and he's killing all the different monsters. I was like, oh, those are the 12 labors. Like, they didn't pronounce it because the movie didn't need to, because it's just a kids movie, but they actually took like quite a few aspects from the actual myth and put it in there. I feel like most of the times when a movie is made, you lose a lot of the original, like the origin story. Disney kept most of it in there.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've seen the Hercules movie. Like,
Oh my god, is
Fake
he
fan,
even,
he's
who
not.
is this guy? You are being
I
exposed.
think I think I was past
Fake.
my cartoon phase by the time the movie came out.
But
Fake
with
fan.
Disney movies, do you ever pass that phase?
I mean, no, because I still love. Like, I'm still a huge fan of a lot of the Disney Channel original movies.
Phineas Ferb.
No, that's not an original.
I know it's not a movie, but
I
I
don't.
love it
I just
still.
don't like. I just don't think I ever saw it, or if I did see it, I was probably young. So on the other end of the spectrum. But recently, I've not. Maybe it's what I have to turn on tonight.
I can't believe you've never seen Hercules. It's such. Have you seen Hercules?
I bet I have.
He's even seen Hercules.
That's a very interesting bet. I would consider taking him up on.
Well,
it
like,
because-
don't quiz me. Like,
Give
it's
me
a
your
long time
parents'
ago.
number.
Exactly.
We're calling them right now.
Yeah. We should. I bet I've seen it. 100% I've seen it.
He says 100%. So what aspect of Greek mythology could you nerd out on over for hours? Please don't go on a several hours plural tangent, but like what gets you fired up when you think about it?
I would just say how, like, just the powers. Like, that they were superheroes, but they were worshipped as God. Like, it was almost the fact that obviously they weren't considered beings, but they were more humanized, I felt, than a lot of, like, not than superheroes, really, because they are human. But I don't know. I would just say, can't even put it into words. It's nerding out in my head. But just how, at least from the way they were portrayed to me, how humanized they were, in a way. But to be so special and worshipped, I don't know. I can't tell you. No comment.
It's he went from I could nerd out to hours to no comment.
No comment. Wow.
It is.
Fake fan.
I really enjoyed the stories. I am gonna finish the book. It's just as much as I can make it through before you guys got here, and I wanted to be able to riff with you a little bit. But dude, yeah, the stories are, if nothing else, they're very entertaining to read.
They are. And they're all, like, very colorful stories. Like, to think about, I guess, the fact it's been passed down from, you know, somebody starting it originally to now the stories where they are is just really interesting as well. Because obviously that's somebody's culture and beliefs from whatever, 1,000, 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
Not 2,000.
maybe more.
Could be.
Doesn't even know the year. Wow. Fake fan.
Just trying to think. I mean, there's no specific year, but I'm trying to think eras.
Yeah, I don't even think in the book in the beginning, I don't even think it mentions like this is the stories
it's just-
from this time period. Yeah, it just says in olden times when men
Exactly,
still
yeah.
worshipped ugly idols, and then it goes into its pitch. And then the very first story with Gaia, they just jump right into it.
Yeah, so there is not a year. Thank you
Man.
for your input, though, Elliot.
A real fan would have Googled it because they were so interested.
Real
but-
fan would have put it into ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was one part of Hercules stories that made me chuckle out loud that I'll read to you guys real quick. So he, Hercules, must travel way to the east and fetch back. I'm going to butcher a lot of these words, so bear with me. Mycenae, the golden girdle of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons. The Amazons were a tribe of wild and warlike women who rode better and fought harder than any man. Eurystheus was sure that even Hercules would be overwhelmed by the furious women. But when Hercules arrived in Amazon land, the proud queen was so taken by the sight of his bulging muscles that she gave him her belt without a fight.
There you go.
It almost read like a softcore
it's-
porn novel. You know, she's
very sexualized. I don't
his
remember-
bulging muscle. They could have just put muscles. But
Yeah.
like
tell-
it
What my father was reading to me, I don't remember it being anywhere near that sexualized.
yeah, didn't make it up. It's all right there in the book you told me to get.
Yes.
But what sort of made me chuckle too is like so many of my guy friends, like I think all of us, like we work out because it is healthy and we do enjoy the muscle. Like even at the gym today, like I had a damn good time seeing my friends, shooting the shit with them in between sets for a few minutes. So there's like several things that we get out of it outside. Like I don't think any of us are going for one reason, but I think a lot of dudes do have this expectation of like, oh, I'm gonna get fucking huge and like everyone will want me, and like it's just not the reality at all.
Yeah, definitely not a huge gym guy. I'm an okay gym guy.
Really?
But I'm
Dude,
like,
your quads are huge.
thank you. I
You're,
appreciate it.
you just skin like that from skating?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
I'm gonna start skating if my legs double in size.
It's been great. No, like I'm a big cardio guy, so I love running. Like, running is like that's like
Freak.
So
No
I go on. No, it's fair. I go on. Like I don't understand it either. It just it's very clearing. So it like clears my mind. Just have a nice peaceful time, and then so I'll go on runs daily. We'll see, maybe doing the Austin half marathon, but like something about I'm never as happy. Like I'll go to the gym, but I'm not as happy in the gym as I am running, which is kind of sad.
You know
wish I
why?
was.
Just running.
Because you don't got none of those smelling salts.
Yes, you need smelling salts.
It's not.
Do
It's
you,
not going to make the difference. I don't think.
outside of whatever you're forced to do because of hockey,
Yeah.
do you do any kind of cardio or working out or yoga or anything like that?
Yeah. Oh, I work out. I'll go lift. I'll go lift weights.
He works out.
How often?
I'm starting to do it every day. A lot of hockey is lower body stuff, so glutes, quads. That's why his quads are so big. Like that's all that's focused on as a kid. Like your upper body doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, I only really touch my uppers now. Like my legs are what my legs are.
Yeah.
With my bad knees, I don't really want to be squatting.
That's true. Yeah.
So
So no.
they've gotten to their current point, and that's probably where they'll stay.
Yep.
But when I go, I'll hit anything on my upper body.
When. It's all about consistency.
It is. Yeah. That's the thing with hockey players is you guys have so much padding on. There's like you can't really tell like how big each individual player is. And a couple times when we're at the Stars game, we'll look up some of the players to see their stats or whatever it is we're trying to figure out. And then when you see their picture on the website, I'm like, oh man, that guy's scrawny.
Yeah.
He looks huge out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot that are significantly stronger than they look, I will say. I have a former teammate that now plays on SMU, and you would never think, like, he's a very fit, like, really fit guy, but not big biceps, not big any really quads either. And he was probably one of the strongest guys I know. It was shocking because, I mean, he probably weighed a decent amount because of the muscle, but it just wasn't very pronounced muscle.
Yeah.
So.
That's definitely focus. Like when you're a kid, they'll tell you like you don't want to get big as a hockey player. You still want to be like small but strong. Like height wise and like weight wise, you're probably aiming for like the 190, like 6'1", 195 is probably the perfect height and weight. But if you're a little bit smaller than that, as long as you're not like a super big guy where like your skill fades away. You agree?
Yeah, no, I agree.
You very much push those two words together. It wasn't really you agree, is it? You agree?
Yeah. You agree? Yeah.
I agree.
There's that accent, maybe.
See, it's the accent, yeah. How about that?
How about that? I'm really curious. What's your guys' relationship like with social media? I didn't look you up on any other platforms but Instagram, but since I didn't see you posting on there much, I was curious if you guys invest much time into doom scrolling or anything like
I
that.
spend too much time, yeah.
You do?
Between Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Yep. Same here.
Started, that was not a word.
It's all right.
Started to limit my TikTok more, but Instagram Reels, I mean, it's the best things I'll ever see. Like and I can't stop once I start.
What do you watch?
Just the most random things. A lot of memes. And then just like a lot on TikTok, I'll literally just watch movies like piece by piece. Like that's the side of TikTok I'm on. So I'll start watching and next thing I know, it's an hour and a half later, and wow, I just finished a new movie through TikTok. But would definitely like to spend less time on both of them.
Sam, my TikTok's more like sports edits. Imagine that. I like sports.
Shocked.
So shocking. So I'll watch like a Justin Herbert, or like I had a LeVar Ball highlight reel the other day. He hasn't played in forever and wasn't really that good. He'll come at me.
LeVar's the dad.
LeVar's the dad, yeah.
He played ever.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He declared himself better than Michael Jordan. So I'll do that. And then the only time I've ever been like posted on TikTok is Texas Ice Hockey. We have a TikTok. It's got like 13K followers now. And we've gone, I guess, semi-viral twice.
Nice.
We're like,
Yeah, he went viral.
I went viral, yeah.
30,000 likes on
it was just me jumping up and down to like a song or something. I don't know, in my hockey gear, but
But yeah, our
people liked it.
our interns have been wonderful,
Yep.
and they've grown all of our social media pages
Yeah.
significantly. So
They've done really good. We hired
props to them a lot.
we hired some interns to like take care of our social media and all our kind of operations as a hockey team, a lot of them, and they've done a really good job at what they've done.
Yeah, couldn't ask for more.
I'm gonna hire an intern for me soon. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
You guys see, it was a couple years ago. There's probably more than one of these. But it was a UFC fight, and the guy's leg broke, and you could
Yes.
see it like
It might get twisted
who was
around his
that?
leg, right?
Yeah,
That
I don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
the
was
name.
crazy though.
I know. I've seen the clip of what you're talking about. I have no clue what the name is.
yeah. A couple of us were out at dinner the other night, and my buddy randomly challenged me to arm wrestle, and he beat me. I was so upset
Oh.
because he doesn't even work out that much.
All right.
But then our buddy was like, guys, look at this video. And so we looked down as two guys getting ready to arm wrestle. And then as they're going, one of the guys' arms just snaps in half.
Oh.
Usually there's not a lot that makes me like squirm.
Yeah.
But that one is like, dude, why the fuck would you show me that?
That's
like,
horrible.
why
I don't even
why
wanna
did you
think
put
about
that in my head? I don't want to know about that. I don't arm wrestle often. That's never going to happen to me. Tap on wood. But
It's brutal.
yeah. What else do I want to ask you guys? What else do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I think I said the decline of American casual dining.
Thank you. I knew
Yeah.
there was one thing that I was missing. Yeah, why'd you send me that link?
I don't know. I mean, I was reading the article, and I was thinking, well, because TGI Fridays is now obviously currently really struggling, and I believe went bankrupt as a company. But a few years ago, I mean, a lot of the American casual dining companies have had their problems. I think Applebee's went bankrupt and recovered. Red Lobster now has a new CEO. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of restaurants that I never really experienced, but it was interesting to see a whole sector dying off almost, and a sector that flourished once so significantly. So I would say that's, yeah.
Has your eating out increased, decreased, or stayed roughly the same over the last like year or two for both of you?
I just basically go to the same place every time. Chipotle.
What do you call it? Say that phrase
Chipper.
again.
Chipper.
What's
We
the
rip,
whole phrase?
Rip some chipper.
Yeah, let's go rip some chipper. I
Yeah.
could rip some chipper after
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I-
There you go.
Good,
That was
actually, to be
perfect.
honest.
That was perfect. You've got the hockey accent now. He's developed it already.
I would definitely say it's probably increased in I mean, yeah. I'm just out, like, even at boarding school. We had times we had to be in our dorm, and after that, you weren't really going to get anywhere to get food, so.
Yeah. I was sort of surprised at the article, again, making a broad generalization amongst a very small set of data. But my grandpa was a cook in the Army, and so then he passed a lot of his cooking skills down to my mom. And so when me and my siblings were growing up, oftentimes it wasn't her in the kitchen by herself. She brought us in with her, and she taught us everything. And my friends are like, sometimes they'll come over, and they'll see me use like spices and raw meats and completely create this whole meal for them, and they're like blown away, and they're like, how the fuck did you do, where's your recipe card? I was like, I don't need a recipe card. I just cook. I just know, like, you guys don't know how to do this? Like, it's not that hard. And I feel like, if anything, the article surprised me a little bit, because I feel like cooking at home, if you're not really in the fitness space, a lot of my friends eat out almost like all
Yes.
14 meals a week. They skip breakfast and then they're eating out at lunch and then they're eating out again at dinner. So when I saw that, I was sort of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised as well. I was surprised to see the lack of success, especially in a time where, as you said, I feel like a lot of, like, at least the people I know are eating out significantly. And I mean, it's just kind of surprising. I think when thinking of places to watch a sporting event at, like Buffalo Wild Wings
Yep.
comes to the top of my mind, yet, they're in
It's
a sector that's struggling.
yeah,
And
it's
same
fallen
thing,
off. a ton.
Applebee's, all of them, which is just kind of interesting to see that it's essentially eliminating, the mid tier of dining. Now you're talking either sit down or fast food.
I will say, I wonder, I forget the article. I think it did reference COVID very briefly, but I know like one thing for me that changed as a result of COVID is I used to go to the movies a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they're all back open now, they were shut down for so long. It's one of those habits that I just never rebuilt back into my schedule. Like I think in the 2.5 years I've been in Austin, I've been to the movies maybe 3 times, where I used to probably go at least once a month, if not more. So I wonder if COVID just, people got so used to eating at home, people who used to go out with their families, let's say every Saturday or whatever, every sporting event, they just never rebuilt that habit back into their schedule.
That's very possible, especially for that sector, because you're talking, you're not talking fast food. You're talking
Right.
about you actually have to go and sit down. And now, it's not a fine dining meal either. So if you can make that same meal at home, then why not make it at home? Which, as you said, I think could definitely be a significant impact of COVID.
Yeah.
I just saw something somewhere that, like movies like I think Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out soon, like this summer, and I think they're just gonna release it on like Netflix. Like they're not gonna release it in theaters, which is just insane because it would do good in theaters.
Yeah, think about like every Netflix original or,
Yeah.
or any streaming platform.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy, sad, because I kind of like the movies.
I mean, yeah.
I
The
like
movies are
theater.
fun. You get
I
your
agree.
homies together, you get some popcorn. Now there's even theaters with like full-on restaurants and
Yeah.
bars built in. Like it's a fun little way to spend the evening.
Ease of access, though. You got to get ready. You got to go out.
Oh, so
Getting
so
ready.
hard.
Throwing
No,
on
but
clothes.
it's
I'm-
a society as a general rule that is significantly lazier than they have been in past generations.
Yeah.
And also, we're in an economic state that's relatively unstable at the current moment, at least. So, if you can rather not spend money and just watch at home, like I see what Netflix is thinking in terms of just releasing on their platform, because it will be extremely successful. And I don't want to say theaters are dying, but as a general rule, after COVID, I mean,
I looked it up once. I think the
It's-
number of theaters that shut down were like 1/7 of the theaters in
Yeah,
all of the U.S. It was really
it had
big
to be
number.
a huge number because, I mean, you're talking a consistent 2 years of no business. It's hard to attract people in an industry which I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like it doesn't have the highest of margins in terms of, I guess, daily turnover.
Theaters in general, or more like a singular movie.
No, like I would say theaters like movies can do great at the box office,
Mhm.
but the amount of theaters there are to see that movie is significant.
Yeah.
So for one, like, I don't know. I also could just be thinking about the theaters around me, which I think we've had like 3 go out of business recently, or post-COVID, just because there's not as many people getting out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember before Fandango came out, this is going to age me a little bit, but that's okay. Like, we had to go to there was a movie coming out that you wanted to see. My parents would, usually like my dad would get like me and my brother, and first thing in the morning, like if the theater opens at 7:30, let's say, we would jump in the car at 7:15 to be at the theater by 7:30 to buy our tickets for the 4 p.m. showtime, because if you didn't, you weren't getting into that 4 p.m. showtime, especially when it, like a new movie, first weekend it's out, all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like you had to put in a little bit of work where you're actually taking 2 trips to the theater now to get your tickets. Whereas I bet you almost any movie that dropped right now in theaters, we could probably get in opening weekend with relative
100%.
ease.
Yeah, I agree.
Would say there's no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
And now it's extremely easy. You just log onto your phone, tap, exactly. Got my ticket.
Yeah.
Yep.
I sort of miss those days, to be honest. There's sort of like a thrill to it a little bit. Like, yeah, we're waking up to go to the theaters to get our tickets.
It's almost like waiting in line for a Texas football game, like a big game.
Yeah, or even like a ride at a theme park
Exactly.
or like any kind of thing. The lines, like, they're sort of annoying, but they generate some excitement too.
Yep.
Yeah. You mentioned one thing on the phone we haven't talked about yet. You remember what it is? GLP-1s.
Oh, that was me.
Oh, that was you?
That
Sorry.
was me. Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about them. I would say just kind of my stance with GLP-1s.
Real quick, in case someone's listening who has no idea what we're talking about, what are these?
Or sitting right next to you.
Sorry, I don't know enough about them in terms of medically. That's why I didn't end up putting them on the Google form after the call. But they're essentially, I believe they reduce insulin levels. They're meant for people with diabetes, and the effect of them is they reduce weight. Because I know part of it is they reduce your appetite. And that's kind of, I don't know enough about GLP-1s.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it too much. I did just some quick fact checking, and you're exactly on the money that they're primarily for diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. And I did find just one stat that according to the Indiana University School of Medicine, there has been a 40-fold increase in these drugs between 2017 and 2021, estimating that approximately 6 million Americans are now on either Ozempic or the other one I can't pronounce, but it starts with an M. Monero, maybe? Monaro, thank you.
Something like that. Yeah, that's kind of the stat I saw, I think, before we hopped on the phone, and it was definitely a very interesting statistic for me, just in terms of the fact that I know a decent amount of people on them that don't really need to be on them, and so kind of how they're being given out, I think, will be interesting to see the long-term effects, because part of it, part of weight loss is actually making the changes of, your diet, your lifestyle, etc. So I think it's interesting to see people just taking the drug without actually making those changes and how that affects them in the long run.
Yeah, this isn't directly correlated to GLP-1s, but I'm not in ERs or outside of my annual physical. I'm a relatively healthy person, and last week when I strained my back, I mentioned to you guys I went to the urgent care center because I literally had to roll out of bed, fell to the floor, crawled over to my shoes, put on the first pair of clothes that I could. I've never been in so much pain. I was freaking out a little bit, so I was like, I'm gonna get to the urgent care center. So I registered, went in. First guy that saw me was probably a nurse or a technician of some sort. He asked, all the standard questions. Why are you in here? What happened? Where does it hurt? Maybe like 4 or 5 other questions. 2 or 3 minutes later, after he leaves, doctor comes in and says, well, let's get you some prescriptions and get you on your way. And I was like, that's it? And she's like, well, what were you expecting? I was like, well, do you want to look at it? Do you want to feel it? Do you want to ask me any questions? Like, you've been in here 10 seconds and you just want to prescribe me some pills and send me on my way? And she's like, is that not what you wanted when you came in here today? I was like, well, I don't know what I wanted. I just, you're a doctor.
Yes.
Like, you're not even going to look at it. Or if I was like, how do you know it's not a bone versus a muscle? And she is like, well, is there any pain in your spine? And I said, no. And she said, it's not bone. And I said, well, shouldn't we maybe just do an x-ray? Just check under the hood. Let's just see for fun. And she's like, well, would you sleep better tonight if we x-rayed it, even though I know nothing's going to be on the x-ray? And I said, yes, I would feel better. So we went and took the x-ray, and sure enough, she was right. There is nothing there. But I just thought, it's really interesting that there is just no conversation at all, that she was just ready to write me that prescription and get me out of the office. And it just was again, I still don't really know what I wanted. I just was expecting a little something else other than just that very easy, just here's your pills, be on your way. And it did make me think too, because this conversation was in the back of my head, and that statistic was in the back of my head. Well, of course, the use of drugs is rising in America. I could have just gotten me some fucking Oxy or whatever she was gonna give me, like, without even trying. And I shouldn't say this. I was gonna say most people probably would have just taken the meds and run. But I've never taken anything, and she's like, well, if you give it a week, it'll probably heal up. It'll just be a very painful week. So I opted for the very painful week, and I'm glad I did. Yep. But just the whole interaction, I didn't like how it went down, and I didn't like how she was going about doing her job. Yeah. A little bit of a tangent.
No, yeah, I mean, that's...
You don't have to respond to that if you don't want to. I'm just venting about this shitty dog. No, I'm kidding.
I don't really know what response I have to it. I mean, I do think most people would have taken the drugs just to ease their pain. I also think it's impressive you didn't take the drugs, but it's... Yeah, I mean, it's... I don't really know.
My solution was I got my lifting buddy to come over here and he got all the things from the bottom shelf of my fridge that I wanted, put them on the top shelf because I couldn't even bend over to get it. Like, dude, there's like shit down there. I want. And then like all my boxers and pants and socks are in these like IKEA boxes on the floor of my closet. So I had him bring all that shit out, put it on the couch. Just like basically I got everything on the floor that I could need for the next week and put it on some elevated surface so I could actually function. So thank God for good friends, because that was a lifesaver, and that was good.
Yep, good friend, good guy alert.
Good guy alert. We
There's
got a couple
one,
of them around here.
Yeah,
this is good. Maybe a few fake fans, but still a good guy.
Yeah, good guy, fake fan.
2 more questions for you, and then I'll let you get out of here for the night. Why do you want to work in the Middle East, and what do you want to do while you're there?
Yeah, so I'd love to be. So why? I just think it's a different life. Like, I'm so used to living the lifestyle we have here, and when I went over there for to study in Jordan, it was just kind of different almost, and kind of I like to explore, like to live different ways, explore new food. So I think living and working in the Middle East for a bit would be a good way to do that. I also love the history over there, like tons of history. I'm a history kind of guy, so that too. And then over there, I'd love to do something in business, like I don't know, there's a ton of new tech firms coming out of there, a ton of mega projects coming out of like the UAE or Saudi Arabia. So those would all be cool to work for. Like State Department economists would be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, a lot of fun. How about you?
Well, real quick, before you can't answer, but just a quick follow-up question. Yeah. Is this something you're pretty determined to make happen? Like, is this a for sure thing that maybe the job title won't be the exact same, but like you will at some point make your way over there, be gainfully employed and spend a couple years?
Yeah, I very much, like, that's what my eyes are set on. Like, doesn't have to be for long, like 2 years, maybe 3 years, then come back and get like an MBA or something. But I definitely want to make that happen, because I think it'd be a cool experience and like cool to tell your kids that you lived in the Middle East.
Yeah. I know you mentioned having a son. Do you have any other post-college goals that you want to pursue at some point outside of building why are you laughing at that?
No.
Are you having a hard time seeing this guy raise a kid?
No, I heard
at this moment I'm having a hard time seeing this guy. It's way down the line. Just relieving my mom's heartburn if she's watching too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I mean, I ideally would like to be in investment banking. Just good, fast-paced environment. Obviously making deals that, change markets and lives every day. I'd like to be in this pharmaceutical vector in particular. That's kind of my more short term is getting a job for next summer in investment banking. But other than that, I don't totally know. It kind of depends on where I end up with that, and how that'll affect my lifestyle. But ideally it'd be in either New York, Boston, or Minneapolis, which are kind of 3 of the big regions for pharmaceutical investment banking, and we'll see from there. But I would love to have a family down the road, way down the road. Yeah.
You want to have a family?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, my kid's gonna play in the NHL.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. My kid's going to the show for
yeah,
sure.
for sure.
It's
He's gonna be a project.
second he comes out of the womb, he's
Yep. Get those
learning to
skates
skate,
on him.
exactly.
Yeah.
Throw a jersey on him while he's still in the hospital.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, he's welcome to do whatever he would like, but he will be encouraged to play hockey. If I have a son, if I have a daughter, also welcome to do whatever she would like. Probably will be encouraged to play hockey as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because you've sort of dabbled around the healthcare space, have you ever heard the parable of going upstream?
In terms of like a salmon.
No, it's a story.
Oh, no.
It's a story that I think is pretty common around in the healthcare community.
I've not heard it.
Okay, what's the difference between a parable and a story? Do you guys know?
No.
Does one have a certain lesson attached with it? Would be
Maybe
my
that's
guess.
what makes a parable a parable.
Oh, probably.
That's,
Probably. That's smart.
we'll see.
Smart guy alert.
Well, according to my intern here, the difference is that how they're structured.
Interesting.
All right, whatever. It's giving me a really long answer. I don't want to read that right now. So, the story or parable of going upstream is that two friends, let's say you two, Lucas and Elliot, are going to have a picnic next to a river. And as you're unfolding the blanket and unpacking your sandwiches, barbecue chips, whatever from the picnic basket, you hear yelling in the river. And so you guys turn around and you see a child drowning. So you run over to the river, you jump in, and you save the kid. As you're on shore, making sure that the kid is okay, you hear more yelling in the river. So you both jump back in, save the second drowning child from the water. And the process repeats itself with a third child, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And as you're saving all these kids that are drowning in the river, you're starting to think to yourself, like, damn, like I want to keep saving these kids. I'm not that great of a swimmer. I'm getting tired. And you're almost panicking over this ordeal of like these drowning children. And then let's say, while you are in the darkest part of this moment, your buddy Lucas gets out of the water and starts walking upstream. And so you yell at him and you say, "Hey, Lucas, where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to go kick the guy's ass that's throwing all these kids in the water." So the idea is, with this story, is there any systems that if resources weren't an issue in our world today that you think we need to go upstream with? Whether that's how we deal with homelessness, cancer, could be something much smaller like domestic violence, could be something in the education system that you guys have identified, could be something the way that that hockey is ran. Any systems where you think that we're sort of not going upstream to the solution for permanent change, but we're sort of just continually putting these fires out that isn't really getting us anywhere?
It's all you.
I think maybe kind of diversity maybe down the line, like lower or like homelessness or like anything like that. You work upstream and start putting money into schools. I think that's a good way to get families out of kind of this repeated cycle of if one kid is homeless or if one kid lives in impoverished life, then his kid's going to live an impoverished life and so on. And I think if you want to break that cycle, education's the way to start. I think that could definitely be an example of something.
Why do you think homelessness is where your mind went to?
Or like poverty or anything like that. And I think it's because first of all, homelessness, because we live in Austin and like we walk down Guad and we see a lot of homeless people living there, and it's a sad thing to see. So like if we could, and every single time we walk by, I'm sure we all like, I feel bad for them. Like I wish they had a place to live, but ourselves, we can't do anything about it necessarily, like alone. But I think the system can. And I think the system starts with education, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I'm still kind of thinking, I guess, without trying to remain bipartial or impartial.
Why are you trying to remain impartial?
Because, I mean, political beliefs, I feel, are a more private matter for the most part.
But most of the examples I gave aren't necessarily political.
No, I agree with that, but I think at least the direction Elliot kind of went for his problem, I don't want to say it's political necessarily. I think there's other, I guess it's not political, it's just, well, it's not really, it's just me kind of disagreeing with, I guess, his solution, which I'm happy to share. My solution for homelessness is, I think we have a significant, we've lost essentially a middle class in America, and we kind of have a lower class, and then a less, so by adding an upper middle class, it's essentially just somebody that's I don't want to say gets stepped on by the elites, but like they're then on top of the middle class, which rather than there's really a more significant divide between the upper middle class and middle class, in terms of the upper middle class is closer to the elites and the lower middle class is closer to the, I guess, poor / homeless. So I think the first thing that needs to be done is, if we're going to cure or solve homelessness, is there needs to be more, I guess, affordable living opportunities. And there also needs to be, I guess I do agree with education, like financial literacy education, in order to, and more employment, obviously. And I feel like those three would be the three, I guess, basic things that would change for homelessness.
Yeah, there is there's a whole book that was sort of centered around the upstream story, and then they went and documented 12 different case studies, and like one was about domestic abuse, and the homeless one was a city, I think it was Rochester. Which one of you is from there? Yeah, I think it was
very well could have been, because I know when they lost a significant amount of their companies, the city kind of turned. Employment dropped, obviously.
So I think I want to say it was Rochester, but I want to say the mayor of the town had been trying to come up with some sort of solution for his entire 10 years in his position. And between year 9, when he knew he was on the last year and he wasn't going to get reelected, he got together with some members of the fire department from the hospitals, and he got this like group of very eclectic different people and was like, how can we really make an impact on this over the next 365 days? Because what we've been doing so far hasn't been working. And so they realized that of all of the homeless people in their city, only I think it was 47 of them were specifically veterans. So they said, for these 47 veterans, let's all pay for their first month's rent and get them back into a home, because homeless people have a lot of the same problems that the three of us do. You know, how are we going to raise our kids, buy our next meal? Same worries, yes. Except we have a roof over our head, which is a huge problem solved. You know, we know we're going to lie down each night. So they said, if we can get these 47 vets employed or homed for 30 days, would that also then be enough time to help them find a job and to get their lives basically up and running? And it worked. They were able to keep all it wasn't a complete zero. It was called functional zero, meaning if 5 or less people became homeless again, they could get them rehoused within a month. So then after it worked with the veteran population, they then wanted to turn their attention to minors, anyone that was homeless that was 18 years or maybe 17 years old or younger, and they started doing something really similar. But I just bring that up to say that was one solution one city took, was let's get, instead of creating our budget, instead of spending money having police respond to a homeless man as stealing stuff from the store, let's instead use that money to house this homeless person. And again, like you said, this could be very decisive. People would be like, no, stealing's wrong. Keep your money to enforcing the police to keep stores safe. So yes, it is a little bit political, but I also just like the idea in general, as you go throughout your life, if you feel like you're dealing with something and you're continually just pulling that kid out of the water, just sort of change your framework to be like, what is the root issue of like this argument with my significant other, or whatever the thing may be, and how can I go upstream with it? And I think that's a really healthy mindset to sort of operate as a human being.
Yep.
I agree.
I too agree.
Disagree with me. I'll fight you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree.
Let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
Is there any problem on Earth where you could snap your finger and it went away? What problem do you think you'd make go away?
I would say, I mean, cancer's a large problem, but if there was able to be a cure to cancer, that wasn't. I mean, obviously you can go through chemotherapy, but that doesn't necessarily get rid of it for good, and it's also extremely traumatic on a person's body.
Yeah.
But I would say a cure to cancer.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty obvious one and very general one that most people would agree with, but
Yeah, it's a popular answer of the
Yeah.
few people I've asked. Yeah. Well, first podcast in the books. Did you guys
Sweet.
have fun?
Yeah, it was a
Good time.
ton of fun.
How long do you think we talked for? You have any ideas?
I've peeked over, but
Yeah.
I didn't think
You saw the clock?
I did see the clock.
That's
I didn't think
crazy.
it was a lot longer. It felt significantly shorter
Yeah.
than it was.
It goes by quick. I think the headphones help a lot.
It's possible.
Yeah.
They really
It's
just
very
get you
possible.
dialed in. We all put our phones away. We're having good conversation. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Before I end this thing, is there anything else you wanted to chirp about that we haven't touched on yet?
I don't think
No, I
so.
would say if you're seeing this, come to a Texas hockey game. Love to have you. And hook 'em.
Hook 'em, yep.
Hook 'em. Well, to the audience, if you guys stuck around with us for 2+ hours, I'm assuming you liked the episode. So do me a huge favor. My promise to you guys is that I'm going to continue to grow the show and bringing awesome guests for you guys' enjoyment, motivation, to get that internal fire lit within you. And I would ask you to do one favor for me. Right now, only about 12% of the audience has gone and given us a 5-star review on Spotify, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And for the small percentage of you guys that have done this already, you have my utmost gratitude. This show has just blown up in the last 18 months in ways that I never thought it could. And so I know we can get these stories to reach and motivate even more people with just 3 minutes of help from you guys. And I'm not asking for your money, just asking for 3 minutes of your time to leave those stars and those subscriptions. So go do that for me. In the meantime, y'all, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you next Saturday night. Good night, everyone.